testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revibe Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/free and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/free. openphone.com/FREE.
A serial killer on the prowl for teen girls in the Pacific Northwest. At least 2 escaped.
She literally crawled out of her grave. Just a miracle that she survived.
Hear their stories. Follow Stolen Voices of Dole Valley now.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Steve Kathan. A lawyer for Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook says a lawsuit's been filed to challenge her firing by President Trump. He brought up mortgage fraud allegations on social media. She insisted she won't leave her job. CBS's Olivia Rinaldi.
This White House is certainly testing the legality around this. The argument is that if there is enough cause, the president can remove her from the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. But what does cause actually mean? Of course, this allegation that was alleged against her from this federal agency was then given to criminal referral to the DOJ. It's just a criminal referral right now. She has not been charged with anything.
A federal judge has dismissed the Trump administration's lawsuit against all 15 federal judges in Maryland over an order that stopped the deportation of migrants, challenging their removals. CBS's Jim Krasula reports a Republican-drawn congressional map has been tossed out of court.
A federal judge says the GOP-controlled Utah legislature must come up with a new congressional map after ruling the present one violates voters' rights. The way it divides Salt Lake County, the state's population center, and Democratic stronghold. Utah has 4 congressional districts.
An investigation after a deadly Florida crash involving a trucker from India has led to new action against 3 states by the Trump administration.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says California, Washington, and New Mexico could lose millions in federal funding if they don't enforce English language requirements for truckers. He says law enforcement pulls truckers over and finds they've been cited.
And what do? Nothing. They turn them loose, put them back on the road.
The Department of Homeland Security says the trucker in the deadly Florida crash was in the nation illegally. Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
A private analysis finds consumer confidence slipped this month. CBS's Kelly O'Grady says there are nagging concerns about jobs.
Optimism about income growth also went down, and that's an important one because that's what mitigates the effects of inflation.
Well, now to California, CBS's Carter Evans is covering the wildfire in wine country where smoke can be just as damaging as flames for growers.
They're not going to know for a little while because the grapes that are on the vines right now, they've still got a couple of more weeks to go before they're ready to harvest, and they can't actually test a grape and get an accurate reading on smoke damage.
First Lady Melania Trump is inviting students in grades K through 12 to a new national contest using AI tools to solve community issues. Wall Street, the Dow is up 5 points. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Seattle is number one for Labor Day travel. We'll tell you why, but first, KIRO News Radio traffic. A banana truck rolled on State Route 18 at the Tiger Mountain Summit. You are slow up to about I-90. There was an earlier crash on southbound I-405 near State Route 527. You're a bit slow south of Canyon Park. Otherwise, your travel times are great. Everett to Seattle, half an hour. Federal Way to Seattle, 1 hour. Renton to Bellevue, 47 minutes. Still waiting for those lake bridges to clear out. Traffic brought to you by Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Save with 20% inflation discounts and 18 months free financing. LakeWashingtonWindows.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and MyNorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Police are searching for the gunman who shot a man in the leg in Seattle's Belltown neighborhood last night. This follows an armed robbery Friday, and KIRO 7 TV's Jake Chapman reports there's growing frustration in the area.
Business owners say this sort of violence, well, it's just becoming way too common. Now, the spa owner we spoke with in this neighborhood tells me that everyone who lives and works here is just frustrated.
We are not being allowed to live and enjoy this historical neighborhood.
We have reached out to Councilman Bob Kettle, who represents the district that Belltown is in, about these concerns.
We'll give you his response when we get it. The man accused in a fatal shooting at the Northgate Transit Center has pleaded not guilty to murder. Police say Edward Kamani shot Juwan Williams in the back of the head last month. Kamani's being held on $5 million bail, but if he manages to post it, prosecutors have a list of requirements.
If bond is posted, that he have no contact, direct or indirect, with any known family members of Juwan Williams, that he not go to the Northgate Transit Station, not leave the state of Washington.
His next court hearing is scheduled for October. A container ship captain has pleaded not guilty for allegedly operating under the influence in Puget Sound. The Coast Guard arrested 48-year-old Ole Danilan of Ukraine for operating at 3 times the legal limit. Maritime lawyer Charles Moore tells KIRO 7 TV.
The Coast Guard has zero tolerance on board, no alcohol, no drugs on vessels, not operating commercial vessels. It's zero tolerance.
The captain claims the alcohol odor came from mouthwash, but a crew member was so concerned he called the Coast Guard in. The success of the region's cruise industry is one reason why Seattle is the top Labor Day travel destination in the country. AAA says the city beat out Orlando, New York, and Boston. Big events, including Bumbershoot, are also draws. Well, the streak continues.
Goodbye, baseball, number 50 for Cal Raleigh.
He joins Ken Griffey Jr. as one of the only 2 Seattle Mariners to hit 50 home runs in one season. Cal Raleigh also broke the MLB record for the most home runs in a season by a catcher. The M's take on the Padres again tonight at T-Mobile. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny today with highs in the upper 80s. It's 69 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Welcome, everybody, and happy Tuesday to all of you. It is August 26th. G is out today, and Mike Lewis is in. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in today. Always enjoy hanging out with you. Hey, coming up at 9:30, a third of the U.S. economy is already in a recession or at high risk, and another third is stagnating. What does that all mean? We're going to kind of get into some depth with that, because y'all remember when the last recession happened and what that meant as a business owner. So we'll have a chance to talk about that. As always, you are invited to join us on our KIRO News Radio text line, 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. And welcome to all of you on YouTube as well. And let's get to it. Our top stories brought to you by Bathfitter Northwest. The Seattle Police Department has settled yet another lawsuit, adding to a growing list of costly legal battles. This time, it's Lieutenant John O'Neill who is walking away with just over $200,000 after accusing 4 female officers of retaliation, harassment, and racial discrimination. But here is the tricky part, Mike. those same officers, those 4 officers, still have their own lawsuit pending against him and SPD with claims of harassment and gender discrimination. And his settlement is only the latest to hit the city budget. Just months ago, Captain Deanna Nolette got a $3 million settlement and was reinstated to her former rank after alleging gender discrimination tied to her demotion. Around the same time, a former SPD 911 supervisor who lost her job over the city's vaccine mandate got $875,000 in a separate deal. And now we are watching to see if the city's going to settle the $10 million lawsuit filed by former Chief Adrian Diaz. He claims his ouster was retaliatory and unjust. And then there's his former chief of staff, Jamie Tompkins, who is also suing for $3 million, claiming that she faced a toxic workplace because of accusations that she was having an affair with then Chief Diaz. I just got to ask, first of all, what is with all these settlements?
So I would argue, first, that every firing is retaliatory, even justified ones. If you're lousy at your job, you get fired. That's retaliation, and I think it's appropriate retaliation. Ergo, Chief Diaz. So I don't have a problem with it being retaliatory. He should have been fired. But here's the thing. My guess is one of the things operating behind the scenes, and this has happened before, including in Seattle, in cities that I've covered when I was a newspaper reporter, is when a new chief comes in, especially a new chief with actually an agenda, like somebody who came in from somewhere else and it's a big hire and this is the person who is this time going to reform the department, blah, blah, blah. They love to clear the slate of all the echoes from the past administrations. And so this is usually when the lawyers know on all sides that, all right, now's the time is hot for some sort of settlement, because remember, these things are very expensive to litigate, even when you're right. We all know that our own insurance companies, if someone makes a claim against our residential place or makes a claim against our business or something like that, they settle. They don't want to go through the fight. Even if they don't feel like they're wrong, they're still going to settle just to get it off the chart.
Right.
So,
but now you've got a $10 million lawsuit filed by former Chief Adrian Diaz.
Remember, I mean, lawsuits are very much like when a utility company wants to rate, they
shoot for the moon.
They shoot for the moon and they settle for tremendously less almost all of the time, unless a jury finds something that, adds punitive damages of some sort on top of that. So in this particular case, I don't know. My guess is, even though I would hate to see them settle with Diaz, I think is a perfect example of that.
Yes, me too.
It's going to happen, and it's going to happen at a much lower rate than the $10 million. But this is a police chief who wants to sort of start fresh, get all of this stuff off the books, and then move ahead.
Well, I want to ask you though, what do you think, as someone who's covered city politics for a long time, how do you think the mayoral race is also playing into all this and the optics
I think
either settling or not settling?
I think if the mayoral race were for, I mean, there's no reason not to slow walk this past election, right? I mean, these settlements could happen. It's very, very conceivable that they could happen after an election. So maybe it won't happen at all before that. I mean, it also depends on the size of the settlement. Like if you're going to give former Chief Diaz $10 million, you sure don't want that happening before the election. Absolutely you don't.
Right.
Even if you intend on it happening, you slow walk that past the election. So I guess my point is, I don't know that this is going to have a tremendous effect on Bruce Harrell, who was really not in many ways the architect of all of this.
Well, he wasn't the architect, but he was the one who chose to have Adrian Diaz stay in his position.
I do. I understand that. And also the one who chose to have him not stay in his position.
Correct.
So he gets that. He gets credit for that at least. My guess is that they're going to move to a settlement. I don't see it as a big factor. I think there are other things that are a bigger factor in the election, especially between two clearly different candidates. It's going to get very interesting, but I don't think the police, other than maybe the consent decree, is going to be a big deal.
My question, too, is at what point does the city just stop writing the checks and actually address the culture and leadership problems inside SPD?
So my answer would be never.
Okay, speaking of SPD and money.
Yeah.
Okay, what a difference a few years makes. Do you remember in 2020, a lot of people were outraged or just talking about this Seattle police officer, Ron Willis, who made more than $400,000 in a single year, and thought was that kind of money for one cop was unthinkable at the time. Well, if you fast forward to last year now, suddenly 4 Seattle police officers made even more than that. 76 officers cleared $300,000, nearly 400 pulled in over $200,000. And it's not because crime is down or because they're solving more homicides. It's because of that brand new contract that we've talked about that gave officers retroactive raises of 23% on top of sky-high overtime. Do you remember back in 2020 when there was a lot of talk about getting control of the overtime?
Well, let's talk about that because I've got the story up right here.
Okay, good.
374 Seattle Police Department. So the thing I like about it, I think if we could reframe our reaction, let's just say maybe slight irritation at these numbers. If we just look at it as sort of like a new Jeopardy winner, right? So we're setting all kinds of new records. We had 374 Seattle Police Department employees who made at least $200,000 in 2020. Now what are we up to? 400?
400, yes.
So there we go. We're winning on that one. And then
nearly 400 over 200,000, 76 officers over 300,000. And then there were 4 with 400,000 or more.
And then our big winner last time was only 400,000. Now we've got someone who's managed to clear the $500,000 mark, being a sergeant in Seattle. This is
that Sergeant Paige Max?
Yeah. Shouldn't we be celebrating this? How many hours do you have to work?
She's had her own share of controversies because she might be working too much because she was caught sleeping in a bus lane on 3rd Avenue. And
who
investigated
hasn't done
for
that on the job from time to time, Ursula?
Okay, in all seriousness, I wouldn't be overly concerned if we weren't always talking about budget problems and also talking about woe is me, the Seattle Police Department, they are underpaid. This sounds to me like poor management. Again, poor management because the overtime is out of control, and I know that they are understaffed.
So to be completely fair to the Seattle Police Department, there are a couple of different factors here, right? There is the
understaffing,
the fact that they've been badly understaffed and then had a dismal time trying to recruit new people. That was a product of, in part, the Seattle City Council. They actually created the weather system that made one from a policing standpoint want to move here, right? So they are now, those chickens have all come home to roost, and they're expensive chickens. The other thing that's going on, though, is that when you are understaffed, you're also like throwing out the overtime in a big way. And the overtime contract that they have is pretty substantial. And this is the secondary thing. So you've got a lack of recruitment, so you had to offer a bunch of hiring bonuses and really raise the salary. And then you had understaffing. So all of those people already at a high salary are getting enormous amounts of money on overtime, which is how you get the $500,000 mark. I don't know how many hours. I remember years ago, the San Francisco Chronicle did this great story on Muni bus drivers who were making, I don't know, and this was years ago, were making 150,000 plus, but when you actually broke it down, some of them were potentially clocking, at least they were filing for 80 hours a week. Now, how does anyone do anything safely at 80 hours a week? I mean, I would love to see a breakdown on this 500,000 and find out.
Well, exactly. So we have reached out, to Chief Sean Barnes because, and he was great about coming on our show. And I would like to ask, what are you specifically going to be doing about this overtime? And I know they're actually hiring more.
They're hiring at a very good clip right now.
Yes. So that is really good. Maybe they can use this as a recruitment tool. Look how much money you can make at SPD.
And if there are officers now making because very quickly you're at 100,000. In fact, your minimum is about 100,000 right now, and then it goes up to 200,000 with overtime and raises and things like that and seniority. I don't mind. That doesn't bother me at all. If it actually allows police officers to live in the city of Seattle, I think that is fantastic, and I am all for it.
I have zero problem with the base salary.
When you get a sergeant at $500,000, I'm starting to get a little concerned about that. That sounds to me like there's somebody, and if
are they
legitimately worked
piling it on for the pension? Well, the pay scale.
Exactly. Yes, and also if you're working that many hours. You're legitimately qualifying for that many?
Can you work that many hours?
Can you safely work that many hours?
Yeah.
While
Exactly.
Sleeping in a bus lane, right?
Yeah, so these would be questions that we would have
I
for
think those
the
were
chief.
excellent questions.
A former state Senate candidate and election observer is avoiding jail time after he defied a mask mandate at the Island County Elections Office. So this is the story about Timothy Hazelow. Last year, he was escorted out of the building after he refused to wear a mask while ballots were being counted. It was a jury that later convicted him of felony, unauthorized access to a voting center, and misdemeanor trespass. Prosecutors pushed for jail time, but Judge Joseph Wilson instead handed down probation, 40 hours of community service, and a no-contact order with the county auditor. The prosecutor, Greg Banks, says Hazelow had multiple off-ramps. He was offered to avoid all of this, but he says he zoomed by all of them and, in fact, asked to be given a citation.
They're saying I'm trespassing because I'm not following the rules.
And that could be where we're headed.
Well, I need a citation of some kind.
Okay, well, then let's go out and we'll get your citation for you.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so Hazelow yesterday had supporters in court, including Pierce County Sheriff Keith Swank.
Shocker.
Yeah, I'll let you hear what he had to say about this. Hazelow calls the convictions an attack on his basic rights. He vows to appeal. The judge, meanwhile, this was interesting, criticized the politicization of COVID rules and said the auditor's mask requirement was reasonable to protect staff.
It's a medical fact, can't be denied. The politicalization of this disease is disgusting is a pretty good word, but more disappointing than anything else.
So Hazelow still has a civil suit against the county. Another election observer has a similar criminal case pending. What do you make of all this?
Yeah. So I guess what I make of all this is the great irony of going into a voting center to track votes, to legitimize in your mind votes, and then losing your right to vote in the process of doing that.
Because now he's convicted of a felony.
Because now he's got a felony.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think there's something kind of weirdly poetic about all of this. And it's a shame that it did get to that, honestly. I mean, if they gave him a lot of off-ramps, like they said, to not have this happen, but if he wants to be a political protester, which essentially is what he's morphed into,
yes,
then here it is. You've got your giant political protester badge now.
Right.
As a felon.
And you know who else wants to be on that bandwagon is Pierce County Sheriff Keith Swank. This is what he told Como 4 News.
We should always abide by the law. We should challenge the law if we think it should be challenged and through the court system. But at the same time, too, I believe most courts in Washington State are biased, especially the state Supreme Court. So it's really hard to get a fair shake, and people understand that.
And he said he wanted to come observe this precedent-setting case to see what the law enforcement response should be in Pierce County if something similar were to happen there.
So, do you ever get the impression that Sheriff Swank is regularly updating his LinkedIn profile, just hoping someone at Fox News catches it and gets him on as sort of like a regular contributor? Because I kind of get he shows up at a lot of things.
He does.
Not in his wheelhouse. He's got a busy county. According to all crime statistics, he's got a busy county.
And his deputies are doing some good work.
Absolutely they are.
Yes.
And he loves to show up elsewhere.
Yes.
And then start crowing about something, and especially just making a broadside about the criminal courts where you are literally sending people.
Yes.
Is a very, very unusual approach.
And problematic, I would say.
And problematic not just for your officers, problematic for your prosecutors. When you are that
they don't
person.
Get along.
Well,
yeah.
Here's the thing.
Yes.
So my guess is, maybe he's got a different game going on. The different game going on, my guess is that he is just looking to land that comment. He knows that this is going to sunset. This job here is going to sunset, and he is going to have to land that big contract as a news commentator, probably on, I don't know,
yes.
Fox?
No, I think you're right, Newsmax. And for her part, and Island County is a Republican-leaning county. So this is not one of those where, oh my gosh, it's a woke county auditor. No, she said she required, the county auditor required masks inside the ballot counting room because nearly half of her staff had previously gotten sick with COVID And a lot of those volunteers are elderly. And she said she couldn't risk another outbreak during an election.
Not only a lot of the volunteers are elderly, a lot, like the entire, like most of the people who participate from voting to ballot counting, like these are frequently volunteer positions, and frequently they are retirees.
Exactly.
Like she was making the right decision, and you're like you said, hardly a crazy left-leaning county.
No.
You know?
No. So I guess you got what you deserve.
You have flank derangement syndrome.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Don't even.
I don't know if Mike's familiar with that one.
Yeah. That was the infamous
I don't
interview.
need to be. Thank
No,
you.
don't. Let's just move on. Okay. Hey.
I'm enjoying the morning so far.
Yes. Let's keep soaking in the summer weather because, we've got the hot days, the warm nights, the heat wave's not leaving yet. Forecasters say it's going to hold through the week before finally easing a bit over Labor Day weekend. You've loved the summer?
Yeah, I do. But let me ask you a question.
Yes.
So you seem to be pretty chipper about this, which tells me only one thing.
I'm faking
you
it right
have air conditioning in your house,
I do.
don't you? There you go. You can tell. Anyone
I do.
who is cheery when it gets hot has air conditioning in their house.
Wait.
They got a good night's sleep.
In my defense, I've only had it for 2 years. So for the rest of the time while I was with all of you, flipping that pillow
and then you left us
over
behind, and now you're sleeping well. You're enjoying mornings. Sell out.
I know. But how do you feel about tonight being our final 8 p.m. sunset of 2025?
So I get mopey about it, but I start getting mopey. This is one of the rare things I don't procrastinate on. I start getting mopey in May when I know that the days are still getting longer, but I'm worried about them starting to get shorter.
Yes.
So by the time May 10th rolls around, I'm already starting to mope. I'm just in full mope by now.
Mike's been grieving for months about the end of summer.
I have. I grieved for months on this.
For me, it starts at the beginning of August. Okay, text us 888-973-5476, 888-97 Big KIRO. How's the summer been for you? Hey, we will have a discussion about recession. What does that all mean? And if the third of the country's already in one? We'll talk about that coming up next here on the Gee and Ursula Show.
The John Curley Show.
Don't worry. Everybody don't panic.
Weekdays 3 to 7.
Where the president wants to do executive order. By the way, it's going to get challenged because Congress is the one that makes all the rules to allow each state to determine how they want to do the voting. And Trump right now, he's certainly getting a lot of executive orders out there. Still the record holder is FDR. I think he's got more than 3,400 or something like that. So nobody took over the federal government and ran it like a king like FDR.
Watch the John Curley Show live on YouTube.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
With football season comes cooler weather, so if you need new windows and doors, don't drop the ball. Steve Rabel here. Call on locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington to tackle your project. Their wide selection of windows and doors always beats the competition, and they'll give you top-notch customer service with no trick plays. Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
KIRO Newsradio is teaming up with Global Credit Union to support our veterans with the Invest in Our Veterans program. For more than 75 years, Global Credit Union has been committed to our military communities and to organizations that back our military and their families. Do you know a nonprofit serving our heroes that could use additional funding? Head to mynorthwest.com/veterans to nominate an organization to receive $1,000 to support their mission. Let's invest in our veterans. Go to mynorthwest.com/veterans.
This is Anna.
I'm 68 years old and I have arthritis in my left knee.
But Anna was not going to take that diagnosis sitting down.
I play pickleball and I bike and I ski and I hike.
And that's when one of Anna's pickleball friends recommended stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine.
I probably could have had a knee replacement, but if I can delay getting a knee replacement another 10 years, why wouldn't I want to do that?
So she met with Dr. Wagner, she had the procedure, and...
I was back to playing pickleball in 4 weeks.
Of course, that's not all she was doing.
Well, I just got back from Maine. I was biking in Acadia. I biked probably over 100 miles for the 5 days and no pain whatsoever in my knee.
And no surprise, Anna is now a fan.
Totally. I had such a good outcome. I'm a firm believer of trying it and see what happens.
So, before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with X5 Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
Northwest homeowners, when it comes to your roof, you need a name you can trust. Techline Roofing has proudly served the Seattle area for years, delivering exceptional results and lasting security. Choose Techline Roofing. Your trust is our foundation. Trust Techline.
Jim Singletary here, Chief Roof Nerd at RoofSmart, where we're not afraid to tell you no. Looking for a roofing company that'll do cheap, fast work and just cover up the problem? No, that's not us. Want a quick quote without a real inspection? Nope. Just want a price without knowing your options? Not happening. Look, we don't want to tell you no, but if saying yes means cut corners, bad results, or wasted money, we won't do it. Period. And here's the deal. Seattle gets 150 rainy days a year. That's not wait and see weather, it's call RoofSmart now weather. We say no to leaky roofs, sloppy work, and bad estimates, and yes to thorough inspections, accurate quotes, and top quality work that actually lasts. So if you want an honest roofer who's not afraid to say no to bad work, call RoofSmart today at 206-487-4877 or visit GetRoofSmart.com. That's 206-487-4877 or GetRoofSmart.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch.
We will not relent. We will not give up until this investigation is concluded.
That bow from the Chelan County Sheriff as another day of intense searching takes place in and around the campsite where Travis Decker's 3 young daughters were found murdered in June. 100 people are conducting a grid search looking for evidence and laying the groundwork for future investigations should it take years to find Decker dead or alive. President Trump says he is firing a member of the Federal Reserve Board, claiming Lisa Cook committed mortgage fraud. Members can only be fired for cause. Cook is refusing to go. The president has also threatened Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Trump has said the Fed is taking too long to lower interest rates. The U.S. Department of Transportation is threatening to withhold federal funding from Washington, California, and New Mexico if they don't enforce English language requirements. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
We need to make sure that those who are driving big rigs, semis, can understand the road signs, that they've been well trained.
An undocumented immigrant who obtained a commercial driver's license in both Washington and California was accused of making an illegal U-turn on the Florida Turnpike and causing a deadly crash. The Pickett wildfire burning in Napa County north of San Francisco now spans more than 10 square miles and is 15% contained. CAL FIRE's Rick Carthart says more than 2,000 people are battling the blaze.
Air resources by themselves don't put a fire out. We still need to put people on the ground. So that's what our focus is right now, is getting into those areas that are very, very hard to access.
Here in Washington State, the Bear Gulch fire is now burning on more than 8,700 acres near Lake Cushman. It's 13% contained. Washington's wildfire season started nearly a month early, fueled by widespread drought conditions and low snowpack.
The Department of Natural Resources predicted an above-average wildfire season, but so far, the acreage burned is below the state's 10-year average. Good news.
I would say that a great deal of why we're seeing that lower number is the firefighting efforts that we've been putting in.
Ryan Rudruck is with DNR. He says while the number of ignited fires is on par with years past, crews are using more resources and greater manpower to extinguish fires quickly. Gwen Baumgartner, KIRO News Radio.
On Wall Street, the Dow is up 4 points. NASDAQ ahead 54. KIRO News Radio traffic. WashDOT says the situation is bananas. 40,000 pounds of the fruit rolled when a semi-truck tumbled on State Route 18 at the Tiger Mountain Summit. You're still slow up to I-90. Travel times, Everett to Seattle, 22 minutes. Federal Way to Seattle, 42. Renton to Bellevue, 33. And your lake bridges have nearly cleared out. Traffic brought to you by KIRO News Radio. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs in the upper 80s. It's 69 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. Gee is out today and Mike Lewis is in, and we are talking about a recession because there are some predictions about where we are as a country.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things that we've all been through, the predictive recession that didn't happen. But this one actually has been, the long-term economic indicators are kind of lousy, and this is one of those things that in soccer they would call an own goal, because largely Moody's chief economist has said, a guy named Mark Zandi has said that we're moving already. Some places in the country are actually in a recession, that the rest of the country appears to be following suit. When you get into a recession, it means that a lot of your economic indicators from employment to industrial production to real income, as opposed to, the real income meaning your income based against inflation and what things actually cost, all of that sort of stuff. When you have 3 months of decline, that's when they say that you're at a risk of running into a longer term recession. And that is what he is saying right now about the United States. It's right now isolated into pockets and not so much here. Although what you are seeing here is evidence of it. If you are not able to find additional work, or you're not finding yourself as mobile in your job as you were at one point, maybe there are multiple opportunities for you. Now there's very few, and you're kind of hanging on to what you have. You're hanging on to your house because you don't want to sell it and move to something else. These are all signs that when you start feeling yourself tightening economically, that usually means that the rest of society is tightening economically as well. And that's what's happening here. And I know that as a business owner, you start noticing it very quickly. Not so much about always a decline in the number of people showing up. Let's just say, use my business, for example, which is a bar. You notice that people are spending less when they're there. You notice that they're spending less time maybe in the neighborhood than before. You notice your own expenses are going up from just the supplies, things that you're buying, whether it be kegs of beer or ground beef or something along, or even just things that you use for cleanup and otherwise. When all those things start getting more expensive and you're getting sort of a narrower group of customers, your margin starts decreasing pretty rapidly.
Okay, and I wanted to ask you about that. How long have you owned the Streamline?
15 years now.
Okay, so
a little over 15.
So you survived the last recession.
Yes. Okay,
so when we were in a recession, what changed for you, or how does it feel differently this time around? Because according to Moody's, according to Mark Zandi, we are at high risk of being one of the states that goes into a recession.
Yeah, so because of the cost of, for us, it's the cost of housing.
Yes.
Is always one of those things that factors heavily immediately in this area on. In fact, you want to know when we're really in a recession? from a housing standpoint, when you start seeing the banners on buildings that say, 1 free month, free rent, when you start seeing, that's when we're there, because they're no longer able to rent places out. And that's usually the canary in the coal mine, at least in terms of Seattle and recession. So for me personally, if we're on the cheaper end of things, we're a pretty modest place. And so we don't feel it in the exact same way as a nicer restaurant in Seattle, in a more, say they're paying more in lease. They're chef, when you worked in fine dining, you would see probably a radical change. I mean, probably, some of those people actually end up going to cheaper places like mine. Yeah. Rather than doing the fine. I think the fine dining places get hit harder in a recession than we do.
Yeah, I mean, the last time this happened, it led to the closure of the James Beard restaurant. I was the chef de cuisine at. That was crushed in Madison Park. Terry Rotaro ended up having to close Rover's because business slowed. I mean, we would go from 100 covers on a Wednesday or Thursday.
And by 100 covers,
what do you mean 100 covers?
100 covers, so like 100 diners
in
an evening, down to like 17 or 18. Oof. And you could literally see the pain that was happening to people. I all around the industry, people were losing their jobs, closing restaurants. And that for every job that I saw lost or every business closed, there's 5 or 20 more people out there in different professions who are affected by this stuff.
The distributors, the people who are selling stuff to the restaurants, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now you were saying, though, that you're seeing that people are spending a little bit less and maybe not coming as frequently.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard right now. I don't, it's not like I do a count every day. Sure. I mean, what you could do is look how many transactions you're doing and the average rate on those transactions, things like that. Right now, it feels where we are relatively stable. But I do know, from a mathematical standpoint, it's even if it's stable and our expenses have gone up, that means we have backslid, right? And that's what starts happening. Is that usually starts happening for a place like ours. It starts happening on the expense end before it's happening actually on the customer end.
Now, again, going back to Moody's chief economist, Mark Zandi, he was saying that we'll see a lot of this toward the end of the year and early next year, right? Again, some of the areas where he says are going to be hardest hit: Wyoming, Montana, Minnesota, Mississippi, Kansas, Massachusetts, and he threw in Washington in there.
So can I offer something a little counterintuitive, though, about a recession?
Yes.
So it's not 100%. It's bad for most people.
Yes.
It is not 100%
no,
bad.
because you might not notice a dang thing.
Well, so if you are a person who has been squirreling away money to maybe buy a house, weirdly enough, you're kind of in the position of rooting for a recession, because that's probably the only time you're going to get a break in this area, when housing prices actually drop. I mean, to be completely honest, I'm co-owner of a house in a tiny 800 square feet, a tidy house in Inner Bay, and the only way I would have been able to afford it was a mortgage crisis, because no one was buying houses. You could go in, and this is so crazy to even consider now. You could go in and offer tens of thousands under the asking price, and people were immediately agreeing because the economy was so bad. Now, I'm not saying that it's a door for a few people who are sort of weirdly positioned and very lucky, as I would call myself, to move in, but you're going to see apartment prices also dropping, and there could be, for people who are in consistent employment, they may be able to actually get into something or invest in something that might help them level up and out. But for the vast bulk of people, it's going to be a terrible situation if we get into a full recession.
Okay, well, we will watch for that. And certainly there was the news that this restaurant, Manmoon,
yes,
closing on Capitol Hill after 13 years. And the owners had described how, it's just a whole combination of things, parking, but also making it just that much tougher to do business.
And as Chef was pointing out, I mean, these places also, these sort of higher end places,
yes,
they employ a lot of people who actually make good money. These are restaurants that sometimes offer career level salaries. And so they're the ones who immediately get hit the hardest. And they're some of the best jobs, some of the best restaurants, but also some of the best jobs in the business.
Yeah.
And that's really unfortunate.
It certainly is. Okay, coming up next, We got a new segment just for today. It's a special appearance of this new segment called You Be Less Judgy. Okay, I can't wait to do that. Okay, yeah.
Challenge.
You and I are going to be surprised by this.
Here.
Yes, absolutely. That's coming up next here on the Gee and Ursula Show.
The John Curley Show.
I think the most talented person is here, and it's John Curley.
By the way, that's my ringtone right there, Coach K.
Weekdays 3 to 7.
We were at this party when I said to you, what about Caitlin Clark? What do you about Caitlin Clark? You said, Curley, you don't know anything about basketball. Let me tell you something.
Sue Bird is the ultimate point guard. I love Sue Bird. Seattle was so very fortunate to have her as her idol, as her hero.
Watch The John Curley Show live on YouTube.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Mariners fans, it's time to bring the noise to T-Mobile Park. This lineup is loaded up and locked in. From every moonshot.
Now Raleigh obliterates this. How far? Way back there.
To every how in the world did he catch that moment?
And Julio makes the catch. No fly zone in full effect.
Be here as the squad shuts the door and lights the W.
Munoz looking for the final out. Here's the stretch, and the strike three called, and the ball game is over.
This is our house.
They're going crazy here at T-Mobile Park.
Mariners baseball. Try dance up.
The Mariners homestand continues tonight at 6:40 and tomorrow afternoon at 1:10 against the Padres. Plus, don't miss out on more marquee interleague matchups down the stretch as Cal and the crew take on the Cardinals September 8th to 10th and the Dodgers September 26th to 28th. Get your tickets today at mariners.com.
I just learned 10% of our electricity in Washington comes from nuclear energy.
I've heard it's reliable and has a small footprint, but what about the waste?
It's not what you might think. No overflowing dumpsters or leaking barrels. Used fuel is safely stored in solid form after powering homes, schools, and businesses for years. All nuclear power plants in the U.S. store their used fuel responsibly to protect the environment.
Where can I learn more?
You can learn about nuclear energy and used fuel at energy-northwest.com. Energy Northwest, powering our clean energy future.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show. Gee is out today, so instead of Would You Rather today, it is time for You Be the Judge.
No,
Hold it.
no.
What
no,
did you say during the morning meeting?
You can strike that from the record. You can strike that from the record. You got to go.
Except today, Mike, we are going to discuss how to be less judgy because we judge all the time, right? Maybe you're in a hurry at the grocery store and then someone like me, okay, I haven't done it in a while, but I pull out a checkbook and you're like, seriously, in 2025, you're using a checkbook? Or maybe you're Chris, dad on YouTube, and as soon as I teased this new segment, he wrote, oh, great, a new segment, which sounds so dumb. We see you, Chris.
So I would maybe add into that particular tones of voice are also judgy in themselves. But this is just a guess.
Maybe you said it very nicely. Or you're in the TSA line and the clueless traveler in front of you didn't realize they had to pull their laptop out.
Or take their shoes off. Well, I know we don't have to anymore. But people who would be shocked by that over the last decade.
Okay, but here's the problem.
Yeah.
So apparently, the more judgmental we are of other people, the worse we actually feel. And maybe this is no news flash to you, but studies have tracked this for years. And if you carry around a lot of hostility, cynicism, or if you're constantly nitpicking others, you are more likely to struggle with depression, with anxiety, or just general poor physical health.
So I'm kind of curious about cause and effect issues. I don't know if you're already sort of depressed and then that makes you more, or whether this... I think the implication here is it creates sort of a feedback loop. You do bad things, you feel worse about yourself, you do more bad things, blah, 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 blah. So maybe it's one of those two things.
It could be.
It also could be that you're just like when you're grumpy, you tend to be more judgy, and I think that's true. And it may not be that the judginess is making you more. Maybe if we just try to be judgy about people, but feel great about it.
Well, also, Mike, like
superior.
The more judgmental you are,
That's generally not what happens.
The less attractive we are socially to other people,
This is
which
true.
ends up isolating us, etc. It is that feedback loop.
Yet,
some people
reality television is completely based on a structure of judginess, on
It
a
is
structure
true.
of it, and it's insanely popular. So I'm not entirely certain. And everyone talks about it being their guilty pleasure, and they feel good watching it. So
there was a
explain
time when
this
I used
me.
to. I know there was a time when I used to feel really good about it, but right now there's so much toxicity that I can't even do that kind
I've
of.
never enjoyed it.
Now I'm like I can't.
Right.
I can't. It's like too much. It's already so pervasive that my relaxation and my guilty pleasure is going to be people just
savaging
each
other.
Yeah, exactly. It's like no thanks. But okay,
no.
Psychologists say judgment often isn't even about the other person. It's about us, our own insecurities or envy or a need to feel like we're doing things the right way. And you've also heard...
No, not true.
You've also
not
heard...
with me.
Yeah.
When I am judging somebody driving slow in traffic, I know I drive faster than that. I want to drive faster than that. And why are they not paying? Why are they looking at their phone when the light is green? Okay. I feel totally comfortable in that judgment. I'm not saying they're a bad person. I'm saying they're not paying attention. And in that moment, kind of a bad person.
But I think that's a fleeting thought in your head, right? Just for that moment. But you know that there are some people
who are just
But I do feel
really good about myself when I get around them, though, in traffic also. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure I'm buying into this. I think my judginess is a tool.
According to, maybe it's a coping mechanism. According to these psychologists, the less judgmental we are, the happier we are. So they're saying, okay, so these are the tips, okay? So maybe this doesn't apply to you, but this is what they're saying. Notice when you're actually judging. Ask yourself, is this really about them or is it about me? I mean, this would cause...
So I agree 100%. Actually, in all seriousness, I agree with this point 100%.
Yeah, for example, am I rolling my eyes at vegans because they won't stop talking about tofu? Or because I secretly admire their willpower while I cannot say no to cheese fries?
So do you know how you can pick a vegan out in the room?
Oh, no. Some of the people I love most in the world are vegans, so why? What? They're the healthiest.
They'll tell you.
Same for CrossFit.
Same for CrossFit.
Same for the people who are on keto. Okay, how about this? Explore your reaction. Judging can mask envy, discomfort, or a need to feel superior. So naming what is underneath can reduce the urge to criticize. For example, again, do I judge furries because they're ridiculous or because I don't understand them and it makes me uncomfortable? The reason we brought up furries is because someone asked me yesterday, what would happen if one of my sons came and said, I identify as a furry, and I said I would be asking a lot of questions, and then I would say, let's go to therapy together.
Right. And then you get him some sort of plush toy to play with.
And apparently some people said I was being judgy. Okay, and then the third thing is swap judgment for curiosity and empathy. So instead of condemning, ask what hidden challenges the other person might be facing, because your curiosity makes space for compassion.
Here's my technique.
And that was my thing. I want to ask more questions.
Oh, so...
Yeah, go.
No. Yeah. So I would. My technique is this. I try to, like, for example, let's just go back to my traffic example.
Yes.
Because that's probably one of the few situations where I'm not a terribly judgy person.
Yes.
But I would say in traffic, I'd like for you to move along a little more quickly and pay attention to the lights. That's all. But what I also remind myself, and this is you, the Prii, the people who drive Priuses, which I collectively refer to as the Prii. The Prii drive unusually slowly. I also have people who I love, family members who also have Priuses, who also drive very slowly. And I remind myself when I'm getting a little hot behind someone like that could be somebody who I actually, similar to someone like they probably have family that cares about them in the same way. Yeah, they drive a little bit slow. Sure, they're in my way. Yes, I will be late as a directly result of the way they drive, but nonetheless, I am not going to judge them.
Look at that.
And then I cool down and then it's all fine.
Okay, and Chris on YouTube, still love you. Okay.
Mike, I just like to think in traffic, it's the rule that we all follow. Anyone who is driving slower than you is an idiot, and anyone who drives faster than you is a maniac.
Exactly.
Right?
This is this is a social contract as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, hey, coming up at 10 on What's New at 10, we have another very packed show for you. We got an update on Mercer Island. Remember we talked about the alleged sexual abuse by a longtime teacher? That was just a horrific story.
It was a terrible story and an abysmal reaction by the administration.
Thank you. Well, we'll see if the administration has gotten its act together, and you can weigh in on that. We'll have that and a whole lot more coming up next here on the Gee Ursula Show.
If you want that summer body you've always dreamed of, then this message is for you, ladies, and you men too. Get rid of extra stubborn fat and address areas of loose skin around the waistline, chin, and under the upper arms with ProSculpt, the new one-day instant permanent fat removal and skin tightening treatment. Maybe you've tried the lasers, fat freezing methods, even those new pills, but without the desired results. ProSculpt is different. It's minimally invasive, performed while fully awake, gentle, yet powerful. Designed to target the waistline, chin, neck, arms, and thighs size, ProSculpt uses FDA-cleared plasma technology to deliver immediate, permanent fat-reducing and skin tightening results all in just one visit. If you want that summer body this summer, then you must act now. Go to ProSculpt.com today to schedule your free consultation. Get $250 off. For instant, permanent fat reduction and skin tightening, visit ProSculpt.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at EnduranceWarranty.com. If you have a 2004 or newer vehicle that's out of warranty or about to be, Endurance is urgently notifying U.S. drivers about their low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save drivers thousands on rising vehicle repair costs. Those who qualify can pick their plan, coverage, and repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental cars included. All covered repairs get paid directly to the repair shop for you. Call now for your free quote. Call 800-298-7906. 800-298-7906.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/free and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/free. openphone.com/FREE.
Vanity Fair calls BritBox a delicious streamer. Collider says everyone should be watching. Catch Britain's next best series with BritBox. Stream acclaimed new originals like Code of Silence.
You read lips, right?
And Linley, based on the best-selling mystery series.
Say hi, Linley. Take it from here.
And don't miss the new season of Karen Piri, coming this October.
You don't look like police. I'll take that as a compliment.
See it differently when you stream the best of British TV with BritBox. Watch with a free trial today.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Our local tax expert Greg Nunn wants taxpayers to know the IRS is now going after older cases very aggressively. If you received Form CP-504 from the IRS, do not ignore it. Be proactive and resolve your situation with Greg Nunn, N-U-N-N, None Better Tax Resolution.
KIRO-FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Steve Kathan. A federal judge throws out the Trump administration lawsuit against all 15 federal judges in Maryland. CBS's Allison Keyes.
The unusual lawsuit was over an order blocking the Trump administration from immediately deporting immigrants seeking a review of their cases in Maryland District Court. Attorneys for the Maryland judges say the lawsuit was intended to limit the power of the judiciary to review certain immigration proceedings.
An attorney for Lisa Cook says the Federal Reserve governor is suing the Trump administration. It comes just hours after the president said on social media that he fired her. She says she's not leaving her job. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
The president is arguing he does have cause, and there are allegations of mortgage fraud, actually, with Lisa Cook, who was the board member in question, saying that she applied for 2 mortgages within the span of 2 weeks, one in Michigan, one in Georgia, and on the paperwork, she said both were going to be her primary residence for the year.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy zeroes in on 3 states that he says have not enforced federal rules for English language proficiency for truck drivers. He says Washington, California, New Mexico and others could lose federal aid.
We will take money away and we'll take additional steps that get progressively more difficult for these states. There's a lot of great tools that we have here that we don't want to use. We just want to keep drivers safe.
Israel's military said today its strike on a Gaza hospital yesterday was aimed at what it says was a Hamas surveillance camera. 20 were killed, including 5 journalists. Day of protests in Israel for ending the war in Gaza. From Jerusalem, the BBC's Yolande Nell.
Protests began early in the morning. They're being billed as a day of disruption. Thousands of protesters taking part, hostage families and their supporters, really trying to get their message across that a deal must be done to bring their loved ones home.
It's a solemn day of remembrance for employees of a TV station in southwestern Virginia.
It's been 10 years since reporter Allison Parker and photojournalist Adam Ward were shot and killed by a former co-worker during a live on-scene broadcast. They worked for CBS TV affiliate WDBJ in Roanoke, Virginia. Meteorologist Tanner Barmer talked about them on air.
Adam Ward, Allison Parker. Of course, I keep remembering Allison, her big, bright smile. She could light up any room, no matter how early in the morning it was. And Adam, he could crack a joke. 2:30 in the morning, he could make you laugh so hard, you'd be having tears in your eyes.
The station observed a moment of silence in their memory. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
Wall Street, right now the Dow is up 1 point. The S&P is up 7. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit Progressive.com today.
Uber Eats drivers are going to get part of a multi-million-dollar settlement. The story coming up. But first, KIRO Newsradio traffic. A heads up in Tukwila. A crew is blocking a lane on southbound State Route 599 near Marginal Way. That's for expansion joint repair. Not seeing a major backup there just yet. It is still slow going on State Route 18 at the Tiger Mountain Summit, where a truck carrying 40,000 pounds of bananas rolled. Your travel times: Everett to Seattle 22 minutes, Federal Way to Seattle 42, Renton to Bellevue 29, and your lake bridges are nearly clear. Traffic brought to you by Home Comfort Alliance. Save 50 to 75% by combining tax credits, rebates, and incentives on a new heat pump. HomeComfortAlliance.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and MyNorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. The man accused in a deadly shooting at the Northgate Transit Center last month enters a plea.
A plea of not guilty on Mr. Kamani's behalf.
Plea of not guilty will be entered.
Seattle police believe this was a pre-planned murder. The 28-year-old accused of shooting and killing 48-year-old Jawan Williams in an early morning ambush. Now, Kamani is charged with first-degree murder with a firearm enhancement. Both were students at the Pima Medical Institute, but it's unclear if they knew each other.
KIRO 7 TV's Eric Thomas says the suspect's next hearing is set for October. Police are searching for the gunman who shot a man in the leg in Seattle's Belltown neighborhood last night. A business owner tells KIRO 7 TV people in the area are frustrated.
It's always been a little gritty, and I love that. But this is something that's been totally... We are not being allowed to live and enjoy this historical neighborhood.
The shooter took off before police got there. The victim was taken to Harborview in stable condition. The captain of a container ship pleads not guilty to operating a vessel under the influence. More from KIRO 7 TV's Deborah Horn.
When the MSC Jubilee 9 entered Puget Sound early last week, the pilot believed the captain was impaired. He notified the Coast Guard. Once the Coast Guard was on board, the officers determined his blood alcohol level was 0.254. Maritime lawyer Charles Morey.
There shouldn't be any alcohol on these boats. There should be no recreational drug use. You never know when you're going to have an emergency situation.
As for this captain, he could be in court again later this week.
Seattle has reached a record-breaking $15 million settlement with Uber Eats. The city claims the company violated worker protection laws after complaints revealed underpayments and a lack of transparency. More than 16,000 app-based workers will receive back pay and damages. Well, the Mariners kept it rolling last night, beating the San Diego Padres 9-6. M's infielder Jorge Polanco with a great night, going 3-4 with 4 RBIs, a double, and a home run.
Goodbye baseball into Edgar's Cantina, into somebody's margarita.
Speaking of homers, Cal Raleigh hit his 50th for the season. The M's continue their series against the Padres tonight at T-Mobile. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs in the upper 80s. It's 69 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO Newsradio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
And welcome to our Tuesday edition of the Gee and Ursula Show. Gee is out volunteering today. Mike Lewis has volunteered to come in and work with me for the next 2 additional hours.
I like thinking of it as volunteering, yes.
Didn't have to.
No,
yeah,
did not need to be
coerced or anything. Okay. Text us 888-973-5476 888-973 KIRO. We are going to be talking about some big changes in college sports, and Mike, you're going to help explain this because I'm already out when it comes to college sports.
I'm happy to.
This is
actually one of my favorite topics.
Is it actually going to get worse or better for us as fans?
It depends on who you're a fan of. It will get better or it will get a lot worse.
Oh, no. And if you're a Cougs
And even
fan,
in this state, it's going to get better for one side and worse for the other.
Okay. Again, our text line is open for you. And also, we invite you to join us on YouTube if you like watching the show from there.
What's new at 10?
Now, parents and students on Mercer Island are demanding answers and accountability. We talked about this story last week. It was from Investigate West, and they're reporting that the district is now reviewing its sexual abuse protocols after a huge outcry over how it handled allegations against longtime teacher Gary Chris Twombly. So he was accused of pursuing or abusing at least 2 students going back to 2016, and prosecutors had concluded misconduct had occurred beyond a reasonable doubt, but charges were not filed because the statute of limitations had run out. And despite all that, the district kept him on paid leave for more than a year before he quietly resigned in February. And families only learned the full story earlier this month, a year and a half later, and only after journalists began asking questions. Then I started seeing a lot of the reaction on social media and a lot of people questioning and saying, why didn't the school do more? Superintendent Fred Rundle says the district stayed quiet about his resignation to protect the victims' identity. But many parents and students are not buying that argument. They say that the district could have safeguarded the students' privacy and still warned everybody about a potential threat. And even one former board member, David D'Souza, pointed out that the district has been transparent in the past about anti-Semitism, bullying, racial issues, threats of violence, while still safeguarding students' identities. So why was this situation handled any differently?
Yeah, I mean, it's depressing that the school district did this on Mercer Island. It's also depressing that they are, what is it? How do they refer to this? They're reviewing their
Yes, so they're basically looking at their protocols. They are reviewing their sex abuse protocols.
I would love to see what they say. What do they say now? If something happens, say nothing and slow walk this so hope no one finds out. I mean, is that the current protocol? Because that does need to be changed. But the idea that they need to sort of look at their craziness,
Okay, keep going. I know.
I just lost a big bet. We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah. Yes.
And Chef is celebrating.
Chef.
All right.
Okay.
I didn't lose it yet.
No.
Still got to happen.
No.
All right. We'll get into that in a minute. So the problem here is that, what is it they have to review? What is it they didn't know as adults in this situation with hundreds of examples nationally of this sort of thing that has happened? Yes. And we all know about this. And we all know about it from especially people like you and I who went back to school when this stuff was never investigated and you knew it was going on, and especially in high school. It was the idea that they have procedures to review, otherwise, either you had no procedures and you need to put some in, or you actually had procedures. What in your procedures did not cover this?
Well, so again, back to their excuse of they didn't want to reveal the victims' identities.
Come on.
The first thing you should be doing is saying, we are fearful that there may be more victims. And if you had any contact, et cetera, they should have been way more forthcoming. And you could have done that without identifying any of the victims. I find that to be a BS excuse for sure. And shame on them, because now more allegations are surfacing online. Students now naming even other teachers, and parents are wondering, like, wait a minute.
Exactly. This thing is not going to spool out in a way that they were hoping for.
Okay, so let's talk about another school district. Actually, we're going to talk about the breaking news real quick before we go into this, because people are wondering, like, why did Mike react?
Why was Chef celebrating and distracting me in an important news segment?
Yes, very important news segment.
I don't know why, and I don't know why I feel like he's rooting against me necessarily, although I felt like this for years.
Okay, so I think it's been now maybe over a year that you and I have a standing bet.
Yes.
Because
it's longer than a year. I think it's been like 2 years. I think what happened was, look, in my defense, I was provoked. I got spun up by Ursula Reutin, who was confident that at the very inception of this relationship between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce of the Kansas City Chiefs, Taylor Swift of the Taylor Swift industry, that they were like this. They were actually an item that was going to stand the test of time and maybe lead to marriage. And we didn't talk about kids, but we did talk about a significant, like a marriage, essentially. Like that was, and I
think this is going to be a keeper, and they're going to get married.
I got frustrated with Ursula's
confidence,
fangirl enthusiasm over this whole thing. My point was that, look, this is just another ploy to milk another relationship for another album, and I thought that that's not necessarily a bad reason to get in a relationship. And so what flashed on screen while we were on a much more important news story and that Chef needed to celebrate was the fact that they announced that they are in fact engaged, and I am losing this bet step by it's like this slow drip torture, losing this bet, because now it's going to be like 2 years of engagement, and I still have a shot that something's going to happen, that someone is going to break up with someone.
I mean, she has a record of breakups, and
yes,
so does he.
Yes,
but it was Fox News that had it as breaking news that they are engaged.
It's probably going to be. It's going to be the most popular story in the country
right now. People are judging.
Right now.
They're going to be rolling their eyes. But we want you to know.
So we have. So our bet. I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't recap for you. Yes. So I then got spun up and maybe spoke a bit rashly. Something I wish I could take back now. Although I think, as I have said, and I do maintain, I win the bet either way. I bet Ursula a dinner at Canlis. And so at Canlis. So this is going to be a pretty expensive bet for me.
Do we bring plus ones too?
Look, I'm covering you. I am covering you. And you bring whomever you'd like to bring.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so Ursula, you realize
the big news though is Fox News reporting that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged. Okay,
see, we can extend this for years though. I know. Because not only the engagement, but then, Mike, you can also bet her. Let's see, how long does it last?
I've learned my lesson about betting Ursula on all things Swift related.
Yes.
I'm not doing it anymore.
Well, you doubted my mommy spidey sense. I said, I think this is the one. I said all things were aligning.
I doubted
I wasn't even that big of a Taylor Swift fan. Now I am.
Now you are.
Yeah, now I am. But in any case, okay. Let's go back to stories.
News.
Because in Arlington, parents there are breathing a sigh of relief. King 5 is reporting that the student who brought a loaded gun to Arlington High School last year is not going to be returning to campus. And parents were outraged when they heard that he would be in class next week. So there was a school board meeting last night. It was packed. Parents voiced their fears for their kids' safety, but they found out before the meeting that in fact, the district and the boy's family, this is a boy who was 14 at the time. He was arrested in 2024. He had a handgun, a bullet in the chamber, the safety off, a second loaded magazine. He had been charged with a felony. Right before this meeting, they said that they mutually agreed that he would not come back to campus, which, of course, was a big sigh of relief for the parents who were really outraged. And so There is an unresolved issue, though, because more than 1,300 people signed a petition that call for tougher rules, including a zero-tolerance policy for guns, meaning no student would be able to return to a school that they brought a gun to.
We need to make a stand and send a message that Arlington schools have zero tolerance for gun violence.
But district leaders are saying they can't make that change on their own. That would actually have to come from the state legislature.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let's say when your boys were in high school.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, at Ursula's birthday party, I had a chance to meet her kids. Really terrific kids. I mean, like very, very nice, and clearly just dig you a lot. So that's that's great though. Not everyone ends up in that sort of like that kind of family, right? Now, both of them are, say, in high school, and this exact scenario happens at whatever high school they went to. And that kid is arrested, justifiably, and charged, justifiably. Let's just say that at some point that gets pled down into
adjudicated,
in some manner.
Yeah.
How does that information follow that kid to the next high school, right? In other words, how does the next place where that person enrolls find out about this? Because they don't really do criminal background checks when you enroll your kid in a high school. So these parents enroll the kid in the next high, because this kid can now not go back to that high school.
Right. But it can go, and
I'm not suggesting a lifetime of punishment here.
This might be controversial. I think he deserves to go to a high school, not the same high school where he caused and basically threatened or caused fear amongst these students.
Let's say if this is someone who wanted to do a school, like, presumably, we don't know whether this was, I was being harassed and I brought protection, I wanted to retaliate against somebody, or I am a person who is fantasized about a school shooting and I wanted to like, that third thing. Should that person be back in any sort of school? You get my drift?
Okay. Yeah, no, I do get your drift, and there are laws that say that they are required to be given opportunity for education.
Yeah. But maybe not in a school like that.
Not necessarily, but it doesn't say they cannot return to any school.
No. I get, this is my question.
Yes.
So what would you, as a parent, would you want? Would you want at least the warning to follow the kid to every high school in the area?
Yes.
And what if they then said
that's not something that's possible?
Yeah. I mean, how do we? This seems to me like it's left very, very unresolved at this point. Like, how long of a tail should this crime have when you're a kid who's already bought a loaded weapon with additional ammunition to a high school?
Yeah.
Given what we've gone through in this country over the last 10 years.
And I think it would have to be like case by case, almost.
Perhaps.
Because you can't.
I don't know.
I
don't have an answer to this.
Yeah,
I think there's a clear line for me, at least, in that so this kid, there's no indication that they were making a specific threat to a specific student, or that the reason they brought the gun to school was because of a person, teacher, or whatever circumstance at the school. Compare that to a former reporter here who had her daughter in school, and a fellow student brought a gun to school, I believe, or had it on the way home, and threatened to kill her daughter, and then the student who made the threat was sent back to that same school.
Yeah.
If it's a specific threat against like a person or teacher, or they're making it because they hate that school, take them out. But otherwise, they're going to be. If you think they're a problem there, they're going to be a problem anywhere. And by the way, what happened to the parents who gave the kid the gun?
Yeah, and by the way, whether they plan to hurt people there, the fact is, he had a gun. The safety was off. He had a second loaded magazine, and there was a handgun with a bullet in the chamber. I would not want that kid ever to step foot in a school where my kid was, regardless of whatever happened.
Nope, exactly. And who would?
And so Judy in Tacoma said this kid needs to go to an alternative school for the rest of his education. And maybe that is the answer. Maybe it is.
Our alternative school is filled with students. You know,
it is,
like
but
they're
similar,
of less value?
No,
this is my point, right?
No, not of less value, but understanding that I think there has to be a place that they can go.
Oh, I agree, 100%. There has to be a place they can go. But I guess what I'm saying is the structure is not presuming this now. Because if you say you have to allow them education, which I fundamentally agree, because if you take them out of a system entirely, you're making a future criminal.
This is true.
So you need to do something, but what you do is extremely important at this point, and putting them back in the public school system when they've already done this seems to me like a bad idea until they get to adult brain stage and they can and they've gotten through whatever this thing is and they're in college, whatever. Okay, fine. But in high school, it seems like you need to make a fairly significant break with the system.
Yeah. Okay, I want to hear what you all think. 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. It is not an easy answer, but I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
You cannot go back to the same school. No way. Okay, so speaking of schools, there's a new debate brewing in Pierce County, and this is a story from the News Tribune. A Bible education nonprofit called LifeWise Academy is looking to start offering programs for Peninsula School District students, pulling them out of class with parental permission to attend Bible studies at a nearby church. And during the lunch and recess period, a big red bus would pull up outside the school, and on the side it says LifeWise Academy, and kids who have their parents' permission get on board, and the bus will take them to a nearby church for a Bible lesson. And after class, they are driven back to school, often just in time for math or reading. And so at a recent school board meeting, 8 parents spoke out saying this kind of program creates an unhealthy learning environment and makes it seem like the district itself is endorsing a particular religion. What do you think?
Well, I mean, if parents have the right to pull their kids out and take them home for a meal, and they have the right to pull their kids out, and let's just say they take them home for a meal, and that meal also involves a prayer, and the schools are already allowing that, then if these are voluntary, I understand. I'm a firm believer in separation of church and state, but I also say that actually giving them off campus is a separate matter entirely. And if you're in an off campus situation, what they do when they're off campus under the guise of the authority of their parents. I mean, what shouldn't you allow? I don't know. I'm fine with this. If they're going to allow them to get off campus and go to their house for lunch, then they can allow them to go off campus and go to some sort of religious class.
The solution for me
is no
close
off campus. Yeah, closed campus. Well, closed campuses seems like a logical thing 100% of the time. So I'm not sure, but if they're already allowing this, then this is the structure. Now, if they do closed campus, I don't want that organization using school facilities to run religious classes. That should be there. That's where I part ways.
Agree.
But if they're allowing off campus anyway, and these kids can go and have a meal at their house, then the classes. Who's to say what's going on? And I'm fine with that.
Okay, so we would love to hear from you. Gave you a lot to chew on there in that segment. 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. We're going to talk about college sports next, and you're going to make me care about college sports more because right now it's out for me.
I'm going to try. I'm just going to try.
Okay, we'll be back right after this.
This hour is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington.
The Jake and Spike Show.
If you are watching on YouTube, you're going to see a giant snake here in just a minute.
Weekdays noon to 3.
Monroe Reptile Zoo in with us right now. Isaac Peterson joins us.
This is linguini. It's a Burmese python, albino Burmese python.
Albino Burmese python.
Yeah.
Oh, Spike is going to wear him. There we go.
I made the really bad mistake of eating a live mouse before the segment, and maybe he smells it on my breath.
Most people don't get comfortable with Spike that quickly.
No, I know. It takes most of my co-hosts at least a year.
Watch the Jake and Spike Show live on YouTube or the KIRO Newsradio app.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Plus free premium delivery with any smart bed and adjustable base. Ends Labor Day. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with XFi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here with Shannon O'Kelly, President and CEO of IRG Physical and Hand Therapy, inviting you to come work with IRG. And Shannon, what kind of staff are you looking for at IRG?
Brock, we're looking for all kinds of clinical staff, physical therapists, occupational therapists, athletic trainers, certified occupational therapy technicians, physical therapy assistants, you name it on the clinical side. We are looking for those folks. But we are really looking for folks that want to come to an organization that want to be part of our culture and change the culture and work with us to provide the best care and service we can to our patients, our team, and our community. So those clinical people out there, we're looking for you. We also provide advanced certification. We want to provide you mentorship. We want you to grow personally and professionally here at IRG.
With over 40 clinics throughout the Pacific Northwest, you've got the opportunity to work in the city you want. Just head over to irgpt.com/careers. That's irgpt.com/careers.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. If you have a 2004 or newer vehicle that's out of warranty or about to be, Endurance is urgently notifying U.S. drivers about their low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save drivers thousands on rising vehicle repair costs. Those who qualify can pick their plan, coverage, and repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental cars included. All covered repairs get paid directly to the repair shop for you. Call now for your free quote. Call 800-298-7906. 800-298-7906.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters. Tune in this weekend when we'll talk with local business owners about everything in and around your home. Join us on Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on KIRO News Radio, or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Plus free premium delivery with any smart bed and adjustable base. Ends Labor Day. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. A new meticulous grid search is underway surrounding the campsite near Leavenworth, where Travis Decker's 3 daughters were found murdered in June. Chelan County Sheriff Mike Morrison.
Looking into similar cases, we found that historically and typically the youth found the homicide suspect and those responsible within a quarter mile of the scene, either alive and or deceased.
If they don't find him now, he says the information they gather will help future investigators.
Anyone can pick up where we left off. We saw this with the Green River Killer case.
Morrison vows Decker will be found dead or alive. President Trump has signed an executive order allowing his administration to create National Guard units to target civil unrest. He's talked about sending troops into Chicago, where this activist says,
if the administration cared about public safety, they would not have slashed $158 million in violence prevention programming, federal funds.
U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is accusing Washington and 2 other states of failing to stop commercial truckers who don't understand English.
This driver was taken out of service in a different state because they couldn't speak English. And what do? Nothing. They turn them loose, put them back on the road.
The Transportation Department is threatening to withhold federal funding from Washington, California, and New Mexico if they don't enforce English language requirements. This follows a deadly crash involving an undocumented immigrant who obtained a commercial license in Washington and California. The Bear Gulch fire near Lake Cushman has now burned more than 8,700 acres. Ryan Roderick with the Department of Natural Resources says conditions are difficult.
That's mostly due to the
KIRO Newsradio traffic. A heads up in Tukwila a crew is blocking. KIRO Newsradio traffic. A heads up in Tukwila a crew is blocking a lane on southbound State Route 599 near Marginal Way for expansion joint repair. Your backup is breaking up on State Route 18 finally at the Tiger Mountain Summit. That's where a truck carrying 40,000 pounds of bananas rolled. Travel times, Everett to Seattle 22 minutes, Federal Way to Seattle 42, Renton to Bellevue 29. Lake bridges appear to be clear. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs in the upper 80s. It is 73 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. Gee is out today. Mike Lewis is in, and we're going to be talking about college sports.
Well, we're sort of talking about money.
It always boils down to money.
Completely related.
Right.
And in fact, the fuel, if you will, of college sports. So Washington Senator Maria Cantwell has sounded the alarm about the future of college sports. She's warning that a new bill in Congress, the SCORE Act, could cement a Power 2 system, so 2 big conferences that would essentially run college football as we know it now. Fox 13 reports that the SCORE Act would give the NC2A a limited antitrust exemption. That's something that they once cherished deeply, more than they cherished student athletes, and set national rules around name, image, and likeness payments. It would also stop athletes from being classified as employees of their school. Supporters say it brings order to a chaotic system. I'm just going to withhold judgment for a moment while I finish this. Supporters say it brings order to a chaotic system, but Cantwell argues it will deepen inequities giving even more power to the Big Ten and the SEC while draining opportunities and revenue from mid-sized conferences. The Pac-12 collapse is evidence of all of that.
Okay, so just to put it in layman's terms,
yes,
and laywoman's terms, because I hear antitrust exemption, I hear that, what does this boil down to? It's instead of having all these different leagues, we're going to have, or conferences, we're going to have 2 huge ones. What does this mean for a school like University of Washington? What does it mean for a school like Washington State University or any smaller universities?
So a school like University of Washington, what this means is that technically at this point, it's not a member of the SEC and is not a member. This is the SEC and the Big Ten. Oh, so the Big Ten, yes. So University of Washington is going to benefit tremendously from this because it's going to be in one of those 2 conferences that are essentially going to be running college football. It's bad for Wazoo because it's been shut out of those. Also, the mid majors in the West, the Oregon States of the world, the Wazoos of the world, they're all going to be in sort of second-tier conferences. It depends on what you want your college football to be. I mean, if any of you, and I don't know how many of you necessarily will get the reference, I'll make it very, very quick. It's going to change the system without all of the benefits of it to somewhat like, I don't know, the Premier League versus the other leagues in Great Britain for soccer. There is one super conference, super league, that is where you go if you are the absolute top flight person in the soccer world. And then there are leagues below that. But what happens is when the teams lose, they can either advance into the upper league or decline into the lower league. It's called relegation and promotion. It's a really genius kind of system in many ways. And weirdly enough, college football would actually tremendously benefit from that, but we're not doing that. What we're doing is locking up. It would be like you get into that upper league and then you stay there forever. And that's what we're doing by building this. The SCORE Act would do to two major conferences, and they would get the bulk of the television revenue, billions and billions of dollars. They'd get the bulk of the students who want to go for the up tier name and likeness money. It's going to create absolutely a have and a have not system when it comes to big money in college sports. But I've also got one counterintuitive idea that may apply here. So what is it you dig about college sports, right? And do you actually like regional? Because maybe what's going to happen is these will be this super league, and maybe we'll go back to having great regional competitions. That regional opponent may change. Maybe having a smaller league where the tickets aren't as expensive, where the kids are actually not necessarily making in their own right $500,000 to $1 million a year in name and likeness. And maybe what it will do is that secondary league will actually be college sports more the way we remembered it.
Okay, and maybe that's what I am.
And maybe that's not such a bad thing.
Yeah, because I like that idea.
Yeah,
because anymore I think of how college sports specifically football.
Yeah.
I think of it as essentially junior pro. It's just these are essentially pro athletes who really have very little affiliation to the schools that they are representing.
Oh no, they're transferring around, but I don't. Again, that stuff like the students having agency over the schools making billions of dollars and they get a cut of that. I'm actually fine with that.
Yeah, that part. G has helped me understand that, and I understand that. I don't begrudge that.
Right.
But it just feels like it's taken a lot of the personal, charming things out of college sports, and it's just made it just a business.
Yeah. So I would argue that maybe that's always been there, and just now you see it in full relief.
Yeah,
because
maybe that's
if
the
you
case.
go to the 1980s Oklahoma Sooners, that's a professional football team. No one's going to class. It is all the bad stuff, but the kids aren't making actually additional money on this except under the table. So I don't mind this so much. I do think, though, that asking for antitrust exemption, which is the way the NC2A operated for so many years and created a big fat bullseye for a lawsuit, I think this is back to the same old problems again, and I think it's a terrible idea.
It's actually even worse, in my opinion, because what this is also doing is saddling these athletic departments with massive, massive amounts of debt. And these are public institutions. Just to look at UW and Wazoo, UW lost nearly $10 million last year in their athletic department. They owe $244 million for Husky Stadium. $10 million a year in interest payments alone. They've already taken out $20 million in loans from the Big Ten. Wazoo, they owe $250 million. Their athletic department is down $250 million, and they're paying $10 million in interest. They took $100 million out of housing and other departments in the university just to pay down their debt. So when you're talking about degrading public education and maybe my kid paying more for their dorm because your athletic department is in debt, screw that.
Well, not just that, but you're going to have to pay more, and then also fans will have to pay more because where are they going to get that additional revenue to cover?
So the funny thing is, I'm not really a college sports fan. I mean, if my friends are watching a big game, I'll go hang out. I mean, my whole sports fan experience is hanging out with friends. It has much. I'm not really that big a fan. I mean, I grew up a big NBA fan, and when I was a kid, I was a Raiders fan, but all that kind of stuff is to me it's okay if I'm hanging out with friends and I dig those people and that's what they want to do. I'm there.
Yeah,
but
is it just because it's a business.
I think the business side of it's actually more interesting to me because it's just so brazenly corrupt that it's hard to even it's hard to even get your head around it. But to me, I can't stop staring at it.
Yeah. No, at this point, I'm happy to give our oldest son, who is now back from Miami. He's living here, and
you're a graduate of.
Duck. I'm a Duck.
Oh,
my
wow.
husband, Husky. Yeah. So Husky fans, though. My oldest son is a Bruin, but he's also a Husky. He loves the Huskies.
Right.
He grew up in the shadow of Husky Stadium.
Right.
So he will be going. He'll be using my ticket to go to the games. I've just lost interest.
Well, I'm sorry, and they're going to find that you're going to once you go high dollar. The NFL's run into this as well. Once you go high dollar, you get fans with a lot of other options of other things to do, and suddenly you lose that passionate alumni support. That goes downstream for your chasing of television dollars. So it's a shame.
There it is.
There you go.
Okay, still ahead, we have scenarios. This is the Gee and Ursula Show with Mike Lewis.
The John Curley Show.
I think the most talented person who's here, and it's John Curley.
By the way, that's my ringtone right there, Coach K.
Weekdays 3 to 7.
We were at this party when I said to you, what about Caitlin Clark? What do you about Caitlin Clark? And you said, Curley, you don't know anything about basketball. Let me tell you something.
Sue Bird is the ultimate point guard. I love Sue Bird. Seattle was so very fortunate to have her as her idol, as her hero.
Watch the John Curley Show live on YouTube.
Carter Subaru has more than 300 new vehicles in stock, like the 2025 Crosstrek, now with 2.9% financing for 48 months. Carter Subaru is the only dealership in Seattle with the 2025 Outback at 0% for 36 months. Head into Carter Subaru Shoreline or Ballard for their A Lot to Love event before August 31st.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. Not all buyers will qualify for federal tax credit. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. Carter Subaru is buying down the rate for the 2025 Outback. The maximum amount financed is $20,000. See dealer for details. Valid through 8/31/25.
You know that cartoon of the three-eyed fish swimming in polluted water next to a nuclear power plant?
Yeah, classic.
I used to think that was real, but I just learned that nuclear energy waste isn't some glowing green goo. It's actually used fuel rods from nuclear reactors that made electricity.
Wait, so no barrels of leaking sludge?
No, solid used fuel rods are safely stored at all the nuclear power plants in the U.S., including the one in Richland.
So the cartoon fish isn't real?
Not even close. Learn the facts about nuclear energy and used fuel at energy-northwest.com.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
It was about 10 years ago when Albert was told his knee was shot.
For you, no running, no jumping, no skiing, no da-da-da.
So he made a decision.
I think I ran around 13,000 miles since that.
Albert went to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I had my knee on when I was 78. Now I'm going to be 89, and it's just as strong.
Yep, 10 years later, the knee works like a charm. At your age, aren't people supposed to be slowing down?
Well, they're supposed to, but not if you work with Dr. Wagner. He doesn't have any sympathy for that.
And now, Albert tells anyone who will listen that whether it's a shoulder, elbow, wrist, hip, or knee, before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine.
My last visit with Dr. Wagner, I remarked on my knee. I said, I can't believe it's been 10 years. And it's almost like it's a new knee.
Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area.
With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Goodbye baseball. Home runs in 3 consecutive games. Cal Raleigh, the big dumper.
The Mariners postseason push is on, and there's a whole new way to be part of the action. Introducing the Homestretch Flex Plan, a $500 membership that gives you the freedom to choose your games and seats for the rest of the season, all while saving 5% on tickets and no fees.
Strike 3 call. Triple digits to end it and complete the sweep.
You can use your credit however you want. Go big with club seats for a couple high-stakes showdowns, or stretch it out into the final series against the Dodgers. And the best part? Homestretch Flex members get priority access to our postseason pre-sale. That means you're first in line when October comes calling. The team is locked in.
J.P. Crawford! Game winner, walk-off fashion in the 9th inning.
And now it's time to bring the energy down the stretch. Come on board today at mariners.com/homestretch. Mariners baseball. Try dance up.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Our local tax expert Greg Nunn wants taxpayers to know the IRS is now going after older cases very aggressively. If you received Form CP-504 from the IRS, do not ignore it. Be proactive and resolve your situation with Greg Nunn, N-U-N-N, None Better Tax Resolution.
Tune in to Elevate Your Wealth. If you're 5 to 10 years from retirement, you do not have the time to deal with a market downturn. With Mark Stimson and Casey Elkins.
It's important that you know what the rules are, because if you don't, you can make some tremendous decisions that could adversely affect you, and you may not be able to go back and fix them.
Tune in to Elevate Your Wealth, Saturdays at 11 a.m. right here on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
It's the Gee and Ursula Show, Tuesday edition. It's time for us to do scenarios.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
Hello, all. I was leading a Zoom call at work, and apparently one of my coworkers left their mic unmuted. We heard this person say, "This meeting is such a waste of time." I couldn't figure out who it was because they didn't have their screens turned on, or at least not most of the guests in attendance. I chose not to address it in the moment, and I asked some people around the office what they think about our meetings, which happen weekly and usually last about 45 minutes. They all told me that they were very, very helpful and appreciated me holding the meetings and having some face-to-face time between myself and the whole team. Should I address this office-wide and ask people their thoughts about whether the meetings are in fact a waste of time? Should I try and get people to rat out who it was? Give me some advice as the boss, Ursula.
Don't try to rat out who it was, but understand that people saying to you, their boss, that we love 45-minute meetings, they're lying through their teeth because they don't want a 45-minute meeting. Most people don't want 45-minute meetings. Am I correct on this, Mike Lewis?
With the exception of the person who's talking, no one wants a 45-minute meeting. No one. Whatsoever.
So first of all, shorten your meetings. Understand that what you heard inadvertently was probably the actual sentiment of. Now, I will say that there are times when I appreciate if your boss makes time, knowing that, for example, you can't make a meeting and then they have a one-on-one with you and get you up to speed on something.
Yeah, I agree.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you complain that we have horrible communication. We're going to have this meeting, but make it short, make it to the point, and make it fun and interesting versus drudgery for 45 minutes or an hour.
Yeah, I mean, so I would agree with you. First off, no witch hunt. That's ridiculous. Secondarily, the boss has also been in meetings where the boss has said that, it just the mic wasn't live, right? I mean, like everyone feels like that at some point in a meeting where you either already know it or it so thoroughly doesn't apply to you that you don't. So give someone some grace on that one, because there but for a mute button go I. All of us,
seriously.
100%. And I've been on meetings early on in the meetings when I was at patch.com. And we had people in not muting, going through drive-thrus. People criticizing me, all kinds of stuff. all kinds of toilets flushing, you name it, we heard it. And so until people learned how to use or until it auto defaulted on mute, and you had to jump in, not jump out. It was the early days of technology. The point is this: 1, don't do that. 2, this is your opportunity. You want to turn this into an opportunity? Send out a note to staff saying, hey, somebody said this, and I'm concerned that they actually may be right.
Yes.
We don't, and also put in the note.
I love that idea.
And put in the note, we don't know. Don't worry. We don't know who you are. We really don't know who you are. But how about everybody offer some meetings to make these tighter, better focused meetings? Because actually it didn't make me mad. It made me sort of realize that maybe this person has a point and maybe blah, blah, blah. And then turn this into an opportunity. You become a better boss. You maybe have a better meeting. And at the very least, you diffuse everything.
Oh, my gosh. Now, can you imagine any boss actually doing that?
Sure.
Because that is an incredible response.
No, I think that a lot of bosses, if you're thinking it through, and all you do is remember when you had to sit in those meetings.
Set aside the pride.
How many times sorry, patch.com. I remember some of these meetings, I would just hit mute and I'd go finish because they would give us so much work. I would go finish other things and just get that and is there a chance I was occasionally asked for feedback, and then I would jump back on and say, oh, sorry, button was mute, and I have no idea what I'm supposed to be answering. But that did happen but generally speaking, they knew how hard all of us were working. We're building a company.
Yes.
We didn't have time for some of these meetings, and inevitably, the people who wasted the most time in the meetings are the people who had the least to say.
Isn't that?
Oh, my goodness.
It's almost like they want to justify their paycheck.
Right.
By just adding the minutes
I'm getting PTSD from it. I remember those meetings.
Well, what do you think, Sean?
Well, I don't say things out loud when I'm frustrated in a meeting. But if I'm in a meeting that is too long, or somebody that traps me at a party, like the drunk guy at the party traps me, I just put my hand in my pocket and I stick out my middle finger, and it makes me feel a lot better.
Are you serious?
Just to know that, yeah. But I think every meeting should come with a live rating system, live feedback. You know how that you can send the emojis and everything? Is this meeting helpful? And once you start seeing a whole bunch of the downvotes flying on the screen, the boss can know, hey, let's wrap this baby up. Because I think people, they don't realize in real time how wasteful they are of people's resources.
Okay, but I got to also speak on behalf.
That was the only honest comment that boss got.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I want to speak on behalf of bosses too, because I've been on the other side too.
Sure, I have too.
Right? Employees are also notorious about whining about not having enough time, enough communication. Right. Hey, how come we weren't told about XYZ?
Right.
So then you have something, and then they're going to go, oh my gosh, this is just so boring. What?
Make them put it straight. What I do, because we do have staff meetings from time to time, what I do is just put it on their lap. You set the agenda.
Yes, I love
there's
that.
things you want to talk about. Let's talk about those things. There's a few things I want to talk about. We're going to talk about those too, but let's share the load and get through everything kind of quickly.
I know Nick has something to say about this.
You're only going to get one answer and one answer only from the workers, and that's nodding yes and say then that they love the meetings, because otherwise the snowball gets bigger and more dramatic. But aside from that, if you're the boss, there's a reason they feel like that if you give them the hunter impression. So ease off and don't try and find out who's the one who left the mic on. Leave it be and maybe take the hint that the meetings don't need to be so long. Let's go from 45 to maybe 30 or even 25 minutes. Let's do everybody a favor.
Yes.
Totally agree.
Exactly. Now, have you ever been someone who in a meeting has sent a text and oops, it went to the wrong person? I don't understand. I just assume that if I say something, it better be something that the boss can hear.
The Slack chat or the chat in the meeting, that can be very dangerous.
Yes, I am shocked at the number of people who will be.
I'm pretty good about, I don't even want to say that I'm good at it because I'm going to immediately jinx myself, but I'm pretty good about, I started early on in technology putting in the person's name after I write the note.
Oh, that's smart.
So
that is so
it saved
smart.
me on so many things.
Oh,
that's a great tip.
I
Thank
love
you.
that. And I loved your response to how the boss should handle that. Great idea. Okay, coming up next, we do our top stories and the 11 o'clock hour. And we're going to bring back a topic because it's definitely the hot topic. And we got an email from someone who had a very different take about what should happen to that student who brought the gun to Arlington High School.
Oh,
so
interesting.
we'll
Good.
talk about that coming up next on the Gee and Ursula Show.
Or another, I wanna lose ya. I wanna
Gee and Ursula, weekdays from 9 to noon on KIRO News Radio.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You've still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it hard to fight flu, pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owed the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
With football season comes cooler weather, so if you need new windows and doors, don't drop the ball. Steve Rabel here. Call on locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington to tackle your project. Their wide selection of windows and doors always beats the competition, and they'll give you top-notch customer service with no trick plays. Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
Are you happy with how you're feeling these days? Are you slowing down physically or mentally? Ever wonder what your life will be like 10 to 15 years from now? Most of us don't really know how we're aging or if we can even do anything about it. But here's the truth. Knowledge is power, and that's exactly where we start at Longevity Medical Clinic. We run advanced diagnostics to find out what's really going on inside your body, and then we create a personalized hormone and health optimization plan designed specifically to help you live better starting now. Our patients are often amazed by what they discover in their blood work, and even more amazed at how quickly they start to feel like themselves again. This isn't guesswork, it's science, it's personal, and it works. Take the first step today. Call 425-633-1820 or visit LongevityMedicalClinic.com to schedule your free consultation. Longevity Medical Clinic. Feel better today and every day after that.
Here's a question. Why are more and more discerning Seattleites choosing Horizon House's new West Tower? They're getting the best views, floor plans, and pre-construction pricing. They're doing it now, and here's why. Because half the residences are already reserved, and they know these advantages won't last. Learn more now at westtowerinfo.org. That's westtowerinfo.org. westtowerinfo.org.
KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Matt Piper. President Trump has been pushing a tougher stance on crime in his backyard of Washington, D.C. Days after the National Guard began carrying weapons, he now says he'll seek the death penalty for those who commit murders in the districts.
That's a very strong preventative, and everybody that's heard it agrees with it. I don't know if we're ready for it in this country, but where you have it, it is, we have no choice.
It comes after the president again hints that he'll send troops to Chicago next to fight crime. The governor of Illinois yesterday said no thanks, and today Residents like Artenis Myrick feel the same.
We say no to the National Guard, but we say yes to real investment, yes to real healing, and real public safety solutions.
Lisa Cook has filed a lawsuit to stop the president from removing her from the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. He said he fired her for cause, and it comes as Trump is pressing the Fed to lower interest rates. Business correspondent Jolene Kent.
No secret that the president very much wants interest rates lowered. He believes that would be good for the economy, while the Fed overall has maintained this wait-and-see approach when it comes to how the labor market is doing and how inflation may or may not be coming down.
To Philadelphia, where it's another workday after drastic cuts to the transit system so the city can save money. A 20% reduction of services across the board. Sherelle Parker is mayor of Philly.
The one thing that I'm absolutely certain about is that we need a recurring and sustainable revenue source for mass transit in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
The Minnesota state lawmaker who survived a shooting at his home in June is calling on Americans to reject political violence.
State Senator John Hoffman received a standing ovation as he took the podium at this week's meeting of the Democratic National Committee in Minneapolis.
We must call Americans to action in ways that don't incite intimidation and political violence.
Hoffman was shot 9 times.
You want to see the pattern on my body? It's the same pattern that's in my red door that I no longer have.
His wife was shot 8 times and also survived. The gunman killed State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband at their home. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
She writes about love, loss, and relationships.
And I love you.
But now a love story as Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged. The singer and NFLer confirmed in an Instagram post with the words, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married."
I say I'm too late.
The photos show Kelce on one knee in a garden. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Seattle is #1 for Labor Day travel. We'll tell you why in a moment. But first, KIRO Newsradio traffic. It looks like the bananas split. I am not seeing much of a backup anymore on State Route 18 at the Tiger Mountain Summit, where a truck carrying 40,000 pounds of bananas rolled earlier today. No other major blocking problems. Travel times, Everett to Seattle, 23 minutes. Federal Way to Seattle, 27. Renton to Bellevue, 26. And your lake bridges are clear. Traffic brought to you by KIRO News Radio.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Police are searching for the gunman who shot a man in the leg in Seattle's Belltown neighborhood last night. This follows an armed robbery Friday, and KIRO 7 TV's Jake Chapman reports there is growing frustration in the area.
Business owners say this sort of violence, well, it's just becoming way too common. Now, the spa owner we spoke with in this neighborhood tells me that everyone who lives and works here is just frustrated.
We are not being allowed to live and enjoy this historical neighborhood.
We have reached out to Councilman Bob Kettle, who represents the district that Belltown is in, about these concerns.
We'll give you his response when we get it. The man accused in a fatal shooting at the Northgate Transit Center has pleaded not guilty to murder. Police say Edward Kamani shot Jawan Williams in the back of the head last month. Kamani is being held on $5 million bail, but if he manages to post it, prosecutors have a list of requirements.
If bond is posted, that he have no contact, direct or indirect, with any known family members of Jawan Williams, that he not go to the Northgate Transit Station, not leave the state of Washington.
His next court hearing is scheduled for October. A container ship captain has pleaded not guilty for allegedly operating under the influence in Puget Sound. The Coast Guard arrested 48-year-old Ole Danilin of Ukraine for operating at 3 times the legal limit. Maritime lawyer Charles Moore tells KIRO 7 TV.
The Coast Guard has zero tolerance on board, no alcohol, no drugs on vessels, not operating commercial vessels. It's zero tolerance.
The captain claims the alcohol smell came from mouthwash he had used, but a crew member was concerned enough to call the Coast Guard in. The success of the region's cruise industry is one reason why Seattle is the top Labor Day travel destination in the country. AAA says the city beat out Orlando, New York, and Boston. Big events including Bumbershoot are also draws. The streak continues.
Goodbye, baseball, number 50 for Cal Raleigh.
He joins Ken Griffey Jr. as one of only 2 Seattle Mariners to hit 50 home runs in a season. Cal Raleigh also broke the MLB record for the most home runs in a season by a catcher. The M's take on the Padres again tonight at T-Mobile. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs in the upper 80s. It's 74 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us on the Tuesday edition of the Gee and Ursula Show. Gee is out today, and Mike Lewis is in. We are in our third hour. How you feeling, Mike?
Great. It's gone by very, very quickly, although we keep revisiting a topic that is...
I know. You should be happy because something
bit.
came to fruition, or it's very close now. Yes,
Not
you heard
yet.
the big news,
Not
the
yet.
big breaking news. We'll get to that later in this segment. But it has been definitely a show where a lot of you have been weighing in on some of our topics.
I feel like I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Yes.
But why is it I'm substituting on this particular day? Who here had advanced knowledge of this particular
isn't
news
that
event
funny?
that brought me into the room to have to pay the piper?
Yeah, everything, the stars are aligning so that you will be taking me to Canlis.
Yes,
This is what we're talking about. But we'll get into that. I want to know how y'all feel about this big announcement today, or is it a yawn for you? Text us 888-973-5476 888-973 KIRO. I realize there's some people who have no idea what we're talking about, but it'll all make sense here by the end of this segment.
Top stories at 11.
On the Gee and Ursula Show.
But one of our top stories in the last hour got a lot of you talking, and it was about this student who brought a loaded gun to Arlington High School last year. It turns out he is not going to be returning to campus as was originally scheduled. And the district and the boy's parents apparently worked out a different arrangement, and the decision came just before a packed school board meeting where parents ended up voicing their fears for their children's safety and really demanding changes within the district in terms of how they handle cases like this. But for background, the 14-year-old was arrested back in February in 2024 after classmates reported that he had a handgun. Turned out it had a bullet in the chamber. The safety was off. There was a second loaded magazine. He had been charged with a felony. And again, he's not going to be returning to class, but it sparked a conversation about what should happen in a case like this, especially in a case, let's say, that the kid gets the counseling, the kid, has the felony, serves whatever it is that goes along with that. Where should that child go to school?
Right. I mean, so the whole presumption of the juvenile justice system is rehabilitation, 100%. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. That's why people have pushed back against this charge them as adults thing, because the prison system no longer has anything to do with rehabilitation. And so the idea is that if you catch someone young, even if they make an egregious mistake, like something like this, that you can find a way to get them into an adult brain mindset and maybe understand, one, the weight of what they did, and two, recalibrate and not actually be like that again. And so we have, is this?
Yes. Yeah. Don't use the full name, but you could just say the first name of the person who sent that.
Yeah. So we got a message from Frank and
from My Northwest.
From My Northwest.
Yes.
And
it was a text message that came.
Text message. And let me just read this. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was who sent along the text message. Okay. So there we go. In the mid 2000s, when my daughter was in high school, another student with another went to a gas station with another student. Two students went to a gas station and a fast food restaurant with a gun to do a holdup. The student who had the gun was expelled from a small private Christian school. He ended up going to another school in a neighboring state. A couple of years later, at the graduation, they announced the name of that classmate who, after a period of time, had returned to the high school. When his name was called to get his diploma, he had a standing ovation in the gymnasium. I felt there was some redemption, that he had righted himself and that the community was rallying for him and his comeback. There was a joy in that moment amongst the class and the families to see this kid come full circle. It's a different situation. He didn't threaten classmates, but he had crossed the line and threatened other people's lives at robbing a gas station. That was a serious and criminal offense. What struck me was the mercy shown to him to let him come back to school in his final year. I think people felt good that he was given a second chance in a way of showing people weren't giving up on him. One, I agree with this to an extent. I agree with this note quite a bit. I think a couple of things. One, this didn't happen on school, and this was someone trying to make money in a holdup, which I actually, as opposed to bringing a loaded gun to a campus filled with kids, we've all seen the outcomes of that way too frequently in the United States. I think these are two different outcomes. I mean, you're carrying that into a gas station to get money, maybe product. You're probably not doing it in there to carry out a mass shooting. That's not what you would just stay in the school. So I think that they're slightly different in terms of what the mindset is of the criminal. But secondarily, that was early 2000s, according to the message writer, and we appreciate it. Thank you for sending that in. I do think it's a germane story, but what have we seen since then? Like which parent
is going to be willing to take that risk?
The idea of redemption, and I actually am a firm believer that what I said about the juvenile justice system should be the way it operates. It shouldn't be warehousing. We can actually reach many of these kids and definitely turn them around, because they make some incredibly poorly formed brain decisions, and they may have had difficult situations at home. But I cannot see a kid who brings a handgun with one in the chamber and a full clip, into a school. Like that kid needs to be completely rerouted. And I don't think that kid needs to be isolated. I think that kid should be going to school. I think that kid needs to be educated. I think all those things. Well, I don't know. So
because I mentioned alternative school, and a mom texted in and said, I think there must be a place for the student to go. An alternative school is not the answer. Alternative schools have students as well. Those students should be protected. Totally. And she says that I had said something about students in alternative schools who might have similar issues like the young man that we're talking about right now. And she said that is incorrect. While some students do have issues, most students do not. So she says there are typical kids who just didn't work out at a regular school, and they should be protected as well. And of course, they should be protected. And she says, I think the shooter should participate in a virtual school, and that would protect everybody.
So, but part of the school experience, I mean, I think that these are all really good points, and obviously I don't know that we have any answers, but we do have a lot of thoughts about it. I think that is true. I would say, one, the alternative schools, at least when I was growing up, and maybe they've improved a lot since then, were, low-grade warehousing to get you to the GED level, to get you out of the system. That's really what they were there for. They didn't really do a whole lot more than that when I was in high school. It may be they're better now. It may have
changed, because that's the impression that I had as well.
Right, and it could be that they're much different. But I would also, so that is maybe not going to do that particular kid a whole lot of good. I would say though that I'm not sure I would want them, for as much as, I mean, maybe in a situation where their bags were checked or so. I don't also think that isolation for education. I mean, part of high school is not just education; it's socialization. That's a really important component of it, and understanding how to sort of exist in a larger group of people, all of whom who don't have the same agenda as you. And I think that actually is an important, especially as families are having fewer siblings. I really think that sort of whole thing, to learn to live with other people, is actually a fairly important component of grade school and high school and college. And so I don't know what you do, but if you just put in a security system of some sort, because if it's a smaller school, I mean, doing the metal detector or doing the bag search becomes much, much easier. But I do think that they should still continue to get an education, because this is now you've gotten, weirdly enough, the signal flare that tells you this one needs help, right? And you can actually target that kid and really make an intervention with that kid. I mean, I'm not trying to say bringing a gun to school creates an opportunity, but in this case, it kind of does. And so maybe that kid needs intervention in a serious way, but not desocialization from other kids.
But I think where we're still landing is that the primary concern should be the safety of the other students who felt threatened by the student coming onto campus.
I think it's a dual concern. Like exactly. One for that kid, because that kid is not going to get better on his own.
Right.
And for the other kids who didn't even know the horrible outcome that they just missed.
Yes.
Can I bring another angle? Because as a parent, I would be less concerned about my child's safety about a kid who brought a gun to school than I would about their safety and ability to learn if they're being bullied by another student at school.
And that's a whole
right.
Well, I think those are two things to be very concerned about, but I wouldn't put one over the other. I would put the bringing a gun to school over the other one, even though bullying happens much more often.
Yeah, and those kids stay too.
I hear you on, and that has lasting impacts as well. Both need to be taken much more seriously. Okay, do I pronounce his name correctly? Gordon Bowker?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so he was the quiet visionary who helped give birth to not one, but two Pacific Northwest icons. He has now passed away at the age of 82. Co-founder of Starbucks and Red Hook Brewery. Starbucks? He
helped co-found Starbucks too, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I'm learning something new here. So he was a Seattle original who brought both caffeine and craft beer to life in our backyard. And he was even the one who designed the original mermaid logo, and he launched Red Hook when microbreweries were rarer than a sunny Seattle afternoon.
Howard Schultz, former CEO, founder, co-founder of Starbucks, I think in his very long podcast on Acquired. On Acquired, which it was really they do great podcasts. The Howard Schultz one had too much Howard Schultz for me, but the fact is he mentions this person as a very, very important figure in
and someone
the
who
beginning
just
of Starbucks.
hasn't gotten enough credit, I would think. But so Stumptown Coffee. That was acquired by Pete's Coffee in 2015. I mean, so we're talking about the whole deal promised independence, but the roots were already entwined with growing capital footprints. Pete's Coffee itself, a landmark of Bay Area coffee culture since 1966. JDE Pete's was snapped up by Keurig Dr. Pepper in an $18 billion cash deal. The reason I'm bringing all these things up.
You know who worked at Pete's early in his career?
Let me guess.
Howard Schultz.
Too much Howard Schultz. So the reason we're bringing all this up, though, is because of these acquisitions and how much loyalty should a company have, whether it is a Pete's Coffee or a Starbucks or a Red Hook or whatever, once it goes through different ownership. How much should they try to keep that local flavor, so to speak?
I got some. What do you think? I mean, I've got some thoughts on it.
Well, what I think is that the case that I brought up in our morning meeting was the whole thing with Rite Aid purchasing Bartell's, and it was like
disaster.
It was a disaster. It went downhill immediately,
and then declared bankruptcy.
Exactly, because there was a
garbage chain, Rite Aid.
Yes,
garbage chain.
Yes, and basically brought down, in my opinion, what was a good chain,
right?
And what had a much.
But Bartell's had gotten the family had gotten retired, gotten tired of the. Well, it's hard to know. They also may have just gotten the best possible deal for a chain. Bartell's is was a great store. It no longer is.
Oh gosh, no.
Well, it's nothing close to what it was.
Find.
Yeah, and they're also hard to find because they've closed so many of them.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, I understand it's a business,
right?
And yeah, people are going to promise that they're going to keep it the same way initially.
I mean, this is the growth path. I understand people wanting to, feel like a company owes the hometown some favor, and I don't actually totally disagree with that. I think that if you are selling your company, you really should take a very hard look at the employees who helped build that, and at least if you don't cut them in on the workplace environment idea, cut them in on an equity stake of some sort. If there are people who are really instrumental, hopefully they're getting compensated in some way. But I don't mind somebody building a company for sale. I mean, everyone always talks about the tech industry is famous for that. They build companies specifically to sell them on to Microsoft or to sell them on to Facebook or to sell them on to some other company like that. I don't mind companies doing that. And really, some of the biggest, if you want to say, intellectual property acquisitions that happened in Seattle over the course of the last 10 years were brewery purchases, not even tech companies like the people like Two Beers. There's a variety of breweries that got purchased by larger conglomerates.
Yeah.
I don't know if you built up a business. I think you have every right to sell it to whomever, but at the very least, just be cognizant of who you should be taking along with you on that journey to, maybe a level up in wealth, because sometimes there are people who worked very, very hard to get you there as well. And even though you are the in-name owner, you didn't do that alone. And so maybe take those things into consideration. But if they're going to sell, they're going to sell. And it doesn't bother me too much.
It's me.
Okay. We got to bring it up.
I was actually
It was the breaking news.
what I'd like to do, I'd like to talk about brewery sales for another. How many? What time do we have in a second? I'm filibustering.
We only have a few minutes, and I know for some people you hate talking about them, but this is going to be something. It was breaking news on Fox News before anywhere else. I'll give them credit for that.
Yes.
That is
Although
we
were told by Chef that it was ESPN that broke it first, correct?
Okay, but it's the moment that millions of Americans and millions of people around the world, not just Swifties, but also Travis Kelce fans. Yes, they announced their engagement today, and the post shows the two of them in a garden with one photo of Kelce on his knee and a close-up of a ring.
Swift also notably tagging her song So High School from the Tortured Poets Department album. The song, as you know, is rumored to be about Travis Kelce. It's also reminiscent of a high school romance.
And she is now the English teacher, and he's the football coach or
gym
the gym coach.
Yeah.
Anyway, all I'm thinking of is that for those of you who don't know, I had a bet on this, that at the very beginning when they first started dating, I said, I know they're going to get married. And Mike Lewis said, no way. How much you want to bet?
So the way it actually happened, and this makes me look worse, not better. You didn't actually even say it as a bet. You just said, I bet this is like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I got spun up and I said, no, let's bet on this.
Yes.
And then I proceeded to potentially lose one of the most expensive bets of my entire life. We'll see.
You threw out
They have to
Canlis.
get married.
And now I'm trying to think of who can I invite to join us at Canlis, because you didn't put a limit on it.
How about the couple themselves? Maybe they will join us. You know who actually dined at Canlis? Friends of mine waited on her when she was in town for her last big show. Lady Gaga.
Oh, is that right?
And they said she was delightful.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So Taylor Swift could conceivably join us, and Travis Kelce could conceivably join us for dinner.
Was that a dig, Taylor Swift? Like,
no.
No. That was just a misspeak.
I kind of
We're
like
3
it.
hours into it. Chef's a hater. He's judgy.
I know.
Okay.
Usually it's pointed at me, though.
Yeah. Okay. Still ahead, we do agree to disagree. This is the Gee and Ursula Show.
This hour is brought to you by DUI Heroes. KIRO Newsradio is right there with you.
A big story developing this morning.
On your smart speaker before you head out the door.
Get the latest live from KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey.
Huge impact for Boeing and Boeing workers.
The office, the gym, anywhere.
Water, like taxes, goes all the way down to the bottom, so it'll either come out of the employee's paycheck or the lack of raise.
KIRO Newsradio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Ready to elevate your everyday? Quince has the Luxe Staples Insider Swear By, minus the markup. From 100% European linen styles and 14-karat gold jewelry to gorgeous leather bags and elevated home finds, Quince has it all. And by partnering directly with top artisans and ethical factories, Quince delivers premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. Discover everyday luxury without the markup at Quince. Go to quince.com/style upgrade for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/style upgrade.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
From the roof to the deck, the siding to the gutters, and energy-efficient windows, State Roofing and Exteriors is your one-stop shop for home protection. With over 55 years serving Western Washington, we don't just work here, we live here. We know what your home is up against when the cold sets in and the rain starts falling. Right now, we're making it easier than ever to get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 24 months. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your free, no-pressure estimate.
State Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
With football season comes cooler weather, so if you need new windows and doors, don't drop the ball. Steve Rabel here. Call on locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington to tackle your project. Their wide selection of windows and doors always beats the competition, and they'll give you top-notch customer service with no trick plays. Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
Yikey Wawa.
What?
My hot water.
Yeah?
Not so hot.
Water heater trouble?
It's not working.
We can fix that.
This week?
How about today?
Apollo Plumbing really is ready right now.
Especially when it comes to water heater replacement.
Think I need a new one?
Is it more than 10 years old?
It is.
Probably so.
Doesn't heat like it used to.
It runs out?
All the time.
That's a warning sign.
Uh-oh.
So are little leaks.
But Apollo can get me a new one?
Installed today by our clean screen trained and trusted plumbers. They're water heater experts.
But I probably got to pay a rush fee.
No extra charge.
You make this too easy.
We'll even haul off the old one.
A new water heater.
Same day. That's the Apollo Plumbing way.
This is going to get my budget in hot water.
Got you covered there too.
How?
Our available payment plans.
I don't have to wait?
Or take cold showers.
You are a lifesaver.
Call us this morning. You'll have hot water today.
That's the Apollo Plumbing way.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
Jaden Schwartz for Techline Roofing. Summer is the perfect time for a new roof. Take advantage of our easy financing, summer specials, and the best warranty in the business. Have a great summer. See you next hockey season. Trust Techline.
If you've been considering surgery or even joint replacement, let me suggest something. Hi, it's Dave Ross. I've now talked to over 200 patients of Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, so many of whom have told me about the life-changing results, and those are their words, after treatment at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. These are people with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, and they tell me that they're back hiking, jogging, playing tennis, skiing, golfing, walking up and down stairs, playing with the kids, the grandkids, and doing it without pain and without surgery. Dr. Mark Wagner's 60-minute outpatient procedure uses your own stem cells, and because they're your own stem cells, they can help regenerate your own cartilage in your own joints. Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, is a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience, and he's performed over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Also, he's one of the few doing it the right way. So listen to his patients, and remember, whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before you choose surgery, first see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD. Get the facts, then get back in the game at drmarkwagnermd.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch.
We will not relent. We will not give up until this investigation is concluded.
That bow from the Chelan County Sheriff as another day of intense searching takes place in and around the campsite where Travis Decker's 3 young daughters were found murdered in June. 100 people are now conducting a grid search, looking for evidence and laying the groundwork for future investigators should it take years to find Decker dead or alive. The U.S. Department of Transportation is threatening to withhold federal funding from Washington, California, and New Mexico if they don't make sure commercial truckers understand English. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
We need to make sure that those who are driving big rigs, semis, can understand the road signs, that they've been well trained.
An undocumented immigrant who obtained a commercial driver's license in both Washington and California was accused of making an illegal U-turn on the Florida Turnpike, causing a deadly crash. The Pickett wildfire burning in Napa County north of San Francisco now spans more than 10 square miles, and it's 15% contained. CAL FIRE's Rick Carhart says more than 2,000 people are battling that blaze.
Air resources by themselves don't put a fire out. We still need to put people on the ground. So that's what our focus is right now, is getting into those areas that are very, very hard to access.
Here in Washington State, the Bear Gulch fire is now burning on more than 8,700 acres near Lake Cushman. It's 13% contained. Washington's wildfire season started nearly a month early, fueled by widespread drought conditions and low snowpack.
The Department of Natural Resources predicted an above-average wildfire season, but so far, the acreage burned is below the state's 10-year average. Good news.
I would say that a great deal of why we're seeing that lower number is the firefighting efforts that we've been putting in.
Ryan Rudrick is with DNR. He says while the number of ignited fires is on par with years past, crews are using more resources and greater manpower to extinguish fires quickly. Gwen Baumgartner, KIRO News Radio.
They are tying the knot. Singer Taylor Swift and the NFL's Travis Kelce announcing on social media today they are engaged. They posted several pictures of Kelce proposing. The couple have been dating for 2 years. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 35 points, NASDAQ ahead 38. Nate Connors is at the KIRO News Radio traffic desk.
Thanks, Heather. North 5 through Seattle, a little crowded starting at the West Seattle Bridge through the downtown core. You got a collision in Tukwila, eastbound 518 at 51st. That's just before I-5, right there in your center lane, and you're backed up bumper to bumper to the airport. Linwood to Seattle looking great, just under 20 minutes. Down in Parkland, westbound 512 right at I-5, a collision is blocking your right lane. Also part of the on-ramp to North 5. Tacoma to Olympia looking great, 35 minutes. And a reminder for our shoreline commuters, the Northeast 145th Street on-ramp to South 5 is closed through September 17th for road work. KIRO News Radio real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs in the upper 80s. It's 74 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning. As always, we invite you to join us on our text line. That number is 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. And hopefully, if you're watching us on YouTube, y'all are behaving over there. And I said that with the y'all just because Anne was telling me that we're not from the South and I shouldn't use that. But anyway, I hope you are.
You know what the plural for y'all is, right?
Uh-huh.
All y'all.
All y'all.
I thought it was y'alls.
Okay, I'll try to get it out of my system. Okay, but let's do Agree to Disagree, brought to you by Guardian Roofing and Gutters.
One of these days, we just got to take off the gloves. Just really.
Okay, I need to bring back a good old sports debate, one that Ursula can actually participate in. Is tennis really a sport? Or golf, for that matter. Here's why I bring it up. So, a noisy crowd helped trigger a 6-minute delay at the U.S. Open on Sunday night during Daniil Medvedev's 5-loss set to France's Benjamin Bonzi. So, during the match, photographer mistakenly walks on the court. The umpire gives one of the guys a serve back, and the crowd disagrees with the call and starts chanting, second serve, second serve. The match had to be stopped for a full 6 minutes. Just because fans were making a noise. And 2 weeks ago, there's this tennis star, Emma Raducanu, had her match stopped because there was a crying child.
and she got the child kicked out of the stadium. So Ursula, can you really call tennis and golf sports if the crowd has to sit there like they're in a library and the athletes get rattled if someone so much as passes gas audibly?
You have such great disdain for those two sports, obviously.
No.
So, first of all, yes, they are sports. Secondly, each sport has different nuances, has different expectations, challenges, etc. Golf and tennis are very much thinking sports. And if you have a wailing baby in a high-stakes match, you absolutely need to stop it. And that's not a place where a baby should be if you can't. I would just say it's not an appropriate place to take a baby, because you know that the baby does what babies do and they cry. And that's just, it's not great for the people who are competing, the athletes who are competing, and it's not great for the audience. So don't do it. They're still sports. I don't know even why you would
frame it that
way. Yes.
Just, tainting the jury pool.
Yes. On golf is not something, I used to think it would be so easy until I actually tried to play golf. And that takes skill, and I do think of that as a sport. You might not be sprinting or whatever it is, but you do have to have skill and talent.
Yeah, you definitely have to have skill, and you definitely have to have talent, and you have to have patience, and typically growing up golfing, you have to have money. But
True.
But I would say, so golf, I mean, it's obviously classified as sport, so it's a sport. I would say that any sport where you can, and I would include bowling in this, any sport where you can smoke while you do it is probably a little less of a sport, maybe in my eyes, than a sport where it'd be difficult to smoke while catching a pass or something like that. So or playing basketball. So it's classified as a sport. I don't really have any problem with that. That's the funny thing, though, like why you can be screaming at the top of your lungs when there is a ball coming at you, at the player, with a spin at 98 miles an hour, and and that person is expected to be able to operate with everyone, including other players, yelling at them. And for some weird reason in golf, if someone takes one shutter of the camera, suddenly people back away from the ball, they get angry, you get pulled out, like all that kind of stuff.
You're concentrating.
But again, my point is, if that's the culture you grew up in,
yes,
then I don't know how suddenly I kind of like the fact. And tennis is weird because tennis is kind of both worlds. The serve, you're quiet, but you're noisy. As soon as a serve happens, people are yelling the entire time. And so a lot of what makes tennis fun is the great rallies, the really impressive rallies, when the crowd noise starts ramping up again and again and again and again. And that makes it pretty fun. But during the serve, there's a tradition of being quiet.
Yeah, it's not just during the serve though, but I mean that is especially when I don't recall people. I think it's after the point is done, then you're
no. They yell absolutely during, because I watch a lot of tennis. They yell absolutely during, especially some more than others. The U.S. Open in particular is known as which is actually what makes it very American and really fun, is because it is a noisy environment.
I played tennis all
That's
through
why John
high school.
McEnroe said he liked it more than any other, because not only is he a New Yorker, but he loved the noise there.
Yeah.
I mean, for him, it made it feel like home.
See, this is the point that I'm trying to make, Ursula, is that I think tennis would be actually interesting and golf would be interesting if every other sport, there's wild cheering, there's heckling, and the idea that tennis athletes or golf stars have an inability to focus if there's any noise, when in every other sport on the planet, there's crazy noise and distractions, and none of those other sports require any less amount of concentration or coordination. I think it's just it's the country club environment that I think needs to go away.
Okay, hold on. Because I'm just looking, and it says you have to be quiet during the entirety of a point during a tennis match from the first serve to the end of the rally, as noise is a significant distraction that can disrupt a player's focus and concentration.
That is tennis rules, or is that what somebody said?
No, I'm looking it up. Why is tennis quiet while
but objectively, if you watch Wimbledon, people are if someone makes a remarkable return, there is noise.
Yeah.
So that is not true.
Yes.
Objectively, right?
right. Objectively.
Agree to disagree.
Technically.
Okay.
Well, actually.
Yes.
Actually. It's not true.
There are certain noises that are okay. But a wailing baby
in
at
every
any point,
environment,
not just
I completely agree with you. And in every environment, there are certain noises that are not okay.
All right, one quick one.
We can agree on that.
Quick one to wrap up here. For $65,000 a year, Ursula, parents in Virginia have the opportunity to send their kids to a teacherless AI private school. It's called the Alpha School, backed by tech billionaires who are all in on this school choice stuff. The co-founder even dropped $1 million on the Virginia governor's race, specifically to push this agenda. Cost aside, how would you feel about your kid going to an AI-led school?
I wouldn't feel good.
No?
I mean, you already know. I don't fit an AI-led school.
Yeah, they're being instructed by programs. AI.
No, I still believe that there is an advantage and a significant advantage in having that personal interaction with an actual teacher, interacting with people. I think we're too into and especially our young kids today, are way too into their devices that would just add to that.
Mike, I only brought this up just because I needed to inform you that Ursula still doesn't trust her cruise control.
True that. True that.
Didn't we have a segment earlier about how to be less judgmental?
Yes, we did.
I went right out the window.
Yeah. And that was another tone of voice thing.
What I found out about cruise control, I wasn't alone on that. That there are just some people who don't like to give it up to cruise control.
I understand that. So in fact, often when you refer to somebody being at work and on cruise control, it's not a flattering, description. But I would also say to your point earlier. Wait, hold it. Why am I forgetting what the topic on
AI school?
The AI school. So remember, why do you go to an Ivy League school when there are many other schools that are not Ivy League that provide the same quality of education? Why is it you would want to send your kids there?
The network and the prestige.
So if this is all backed by tech billionaires and you want your kid associating with their kids and you want your kid, this is why you send your kid there. You have no other reason to send them there than to be connected with a whole bunch of people who are going to actually employ your maybe poorly educated kid at a very high level in corporate America somewhere. That's what you're doing. You're setting them up for success.
Yeah, except they don't know how to interact with actual humans.
No, they have to interact with the other humans around them who are humans born of wealthy humans, and that's why you're sending them there.
Okay. Well, with that, we are going to move on to our segment where we share your feedback and, of course, our words to live by. I can't believe it's already 11:43. This is the Gee and Ursula Show. I know, with Mike Lewis.
The Jake and Spike Show.
I check it late at night when my wife's not looking.
Weekdays noon to 3.
My favorite thing on my phone, which is my weather app.
First thing, nonstop.
My number one app. Every day it tells me it's the number one thing I use on my phone.
First thing I looked at when I woke up.
First thing I see in the morning, last thing I see at night is the weather.
Then I'll over and kiss her after that.
My wife says, don't kiss me after you look at your weather app.
I feel hot and sweaty.
Watch the Jake and Spike Show live on YouTube or the KIRO Newsradio app.
Lowe's has the Labor Day deals you need to give your home a new look. Buy one, get one free select interior paint via Visa gift card rebate. Then, add the final touch with 2 for $8 on select 2.5 or 3-quart mums. Refresh your home and save big while doing it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 9/3. Mums offer in-store only. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowes.com/rebates for details.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came packed to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
When you walked through your kitchen this morning, what'd you see? Did it make you happy? Hi, I'm Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft. Well, I want to make you happy. We'll custom build you all new cabinet doors and drawer fronts, and using our exclusive 1/4-inch solid wood refacing process, transform your existing cabinets into a beautiful new kitchen. Add a custom quartz countertop, change things up a bit, add some more cabinets, install some cool new features like soft close drawers and sliding shelves, whatever you like. We'll help you to create the new kitchen you'll be proud of. All in about a week, and all with way less mess, hassle, time, and expense than to tear out. Stop waiting. For 18 years, we've been honored to serve thousands of happy customers, and we'd love to serve you. Call today and I'll get one of our pros to come out and show you how easy and comfortable it'll be to get going on your new kitchen. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600, 425-485-1600, or heritagehomecraft.com.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owed the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-972-0588. 800-972-0588. 800-972-0588.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
By texting 64000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at OurRealSuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Seattle without using your own money? You'll learn to flip houses and secure rental properties in your spare time to get on track towards real wealth building. We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Seattle for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text FREE to 64,000. Seattle is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop next week right here in Seattle and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text FREE to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text FREE to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text FREE to 64,000.
Have you stopped to think about how you feel today compared to, say, 10 years ago? Are you noticing changes? Less energy, slow recovery, trouble focusing, maybe even weight gain? What if you could turn back the clock and feel stronger, sharper, and more alive? At Longevity Medical Clinic, we help people do exactly that. For over 3 decades, we've been helping thousands of men and women find out what's really going on inside their bodies and take action to feel better and live longer. With advanced diagnostics and personalized hormone and supplement plans, we uncover what's been holding you back and show you how to optimize your health. Our patients often say, "Now I finally understand what's happening and what to do about it." Take the first step. Call 425-633-1810 or visit longevitymedicalclinic.com to schedule your free consultation. Longevity Medical Clinic. Feel better. Live longer. Let's do it together.
The insurance world, it can be confusing. So have First Mark Insurance guide you through it by taking the free First Mark Challenge. They'll explore offerings from top carriers for better coverage and lower rates. They save the Heward family thousands. Go to firstmarkinsurance.com.
And just like that, the Tuesday edition of the Gee and Ursula Show with Mike Lewis is wrapping up. And as our guest, you get a chance to start off with the feedback from our listeners.
Excellent. This is under the heading, being judgmental is not good for your mental or physical health. From Josh in Auburn, judgmental, as y'all are talking about this, I couldn't help but laugh while getting the double bird from a driver in a Mini Cooper, mad that my semi-trailer and I are in the left lane. I am making a left turn in 200 feet. So he's being judgmental and angry at my driving while I am being happy judgmental at his anger. I have nothing but waves and smiles. It was great. And I got to give Josh, not only is that a power move, you've actually now ramped the other driver into the next level anger where they're going to carry that around the rest of the day. Smart move. I like it.
I like to blow him a kiss.
Yeah.
Which
that gets him going.
Yo. Now I've got to stop. Now I've really got it hooked in my head. What I was going to say is, when you do things like that to annoy the other driver, just remember you never know what's going on in their head. Okay, Mike judges Prius drivers, but otherwise isn't judgmental, according to him. Vicky in the 360 says, I drive a Prius and I don't aspire to be the fastest person on the road. However, I'm happy to pull over or into a slower lane to facilitate others driving at the speed that they want, Mike. And this comes from my epiphany that everyone is trying to get somewhere speedily and safely.
I agree.
Our job as fellow drivers is to help make that happen for everyone.
Yep. There we
She
go.
also says, I just returned from France where my husband drove under difficult conditions in a rental car. My new philosophy is that when I see a driver doing something stupid, I am just going to assume that they are a stranger in a strange land and I'll cut them some slack.
Vicky, thank you for your note. I would also like to say that if you want your husband to really drive in difficult conditions, drive in Italy, not France.
Oh, Germany.
Germany's great. Germany's like
They're
being in a German or Swiss watch. They're
precision,
perfect.
but they're
very
quick.
precise, but they're quick.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
All right, from the student who brought a gun to Arlington High and will not return to the school, but where should he and other kids in similar situations go for their education? From Mariah in Gold Bar. I don't know what the kid needs, but as a parent, I think we should know where he is relocated if he does go in person, because Arlington isn't too far from Sultan, and I would want to know it, for example, if you move to my kid's school district.
Then there's Michael in Seattle who said military school should be the alternative for bad actors in junior high and high school. Not everyone can do military school.
No.
That's the problem.
Although G famously did, correct?
He did.
From Murray in Des Moines. The moment you bring a weapon to school, you need to be removed and put in an alternative learning environment. With mental health, you just never know. That's why you don't honk and flip people off on the road. Andrew.
Thank you. Exactly what I wanted to make sure.
Oh, that's right. You smiled. Wait.
Oh.
You blow him a kiss.
Yeah.
Okay, even more changes in college football because of the SCORE Act. Someone texted in, and I'm sorry I don't give you credit for this because it's good. Big time college football will be like Ruth Chris Steakhouse. You go experience it every once in a while and it'll be good, but you still wonder what all the hype is about. But it won't be where you go every week. And when you really want to eat and have fun, you usually go somewhere smaller and local. And it's always way more fun and the food's great. AKA WSU and Oregon State.
Excellent metaphor. On Ursula never uses cruise control, and she is not alone. From Elaine in Seattle. Hi, Ursula. I'm 63. I just tried cruise control last weekend. Could only use it for a while and then had to go back to driving.
See?
Y'all never drive in the left lane, do you?
On occasion.
Oh, see, that's like I-90 long road trips. People with no cruise control.
Taylor and Travis getting engaged today. Okay, I need to listen. My heart goes out to Jeff and Everett, who says he hates seeing the news on his sports feed. He says, God forbid men can just enjoy a couple of things in life without women having to put their 2 cents into it and ruin it. The only reason the sports media covers and shows Taylor Swift at every game she attends is because of clickbait. This is not drawing attention to sports fans. It's drawing fans from the outside. This is no different than women watching the Super Bowl just to see the commercials, but they really don't give a dang about the game. A big part of me wants to just say, who cares, and ignore it, but you virtually cannot, and it is infuriating that I have to constantly watch the NFL shamelessly plug a stupid relationship of a specific player. Jeff? Okay. My heart goes out to you.
Whose heart does he also go out to?
And then Emily in Kirkland said, talk about breaking news. You guys broke the Taylor news so fast, it wasn't even on Google when I looked it up.
That's what we're here for.
Yes, for the breaking news. It is time for our words to live by. And this is about being judgmental. Life is an echo. When you send out, whatever you send out comes back. What you sow, you reap. What you give, you get. What you see in others exists in you. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. And give love, because that is what will come back to you. Mike, thank you. I know. I'm not leaving you enough time to.
I know.
Because you're judging me
I am
for that
judging you.
quote. Chef, thank you. And Nick, always appreciate you.
Well, with the Judgement segment more established on the show, it was nice to have a palate cleanser from what we already know. But as soon as Judgement free time ended, we had engagement news that made us look at Mike thinking he's slowly going to lose. And Ursula will win her dinner with all the fancy things, hopefully not thinking Mike will pay for anyone she brings. You can bring anyone you like, but Mike's only covering your meal. The persuasion, that's up to you.
Funny enough that I did get a text message from someone saying, can she join us?
Absolutely.
Her dime,
Absolutely.
she says.
Absolutely. My misery is going to need all the company it can get.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for joining us today. Love and appreciate all of you, and we will do this again tomorrow. Have a great day.
Hope you had as much fun as we have. So long, everybody.
With football season comes cooler weather, so if you need new windows and doors, don't drop the ball. Steve Rabel here. Call on locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington to tackle your project. Their wide selection of windows and doors always beats the competition, and they'll give you top-notch customer service with no trick plays. Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio Northwest News.
Save big during Labor Day at Lowe's. Get up to 40% off select major appliances. Plus, buy more to get up to an additional 20% off. Shop even more savings with 3 Stay Green 1 cubic foot vegetable and flower garden soil bags for $10. This Labor Day, take care of your home for less at Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 9/3. Soil offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. Select locations only. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Looking for high-quality assisted living that won't drain your life savings? At Care Partners Living, we offer compassionate care at a price that helps stretch and preserve your estate. No unnecessary luxury, just the support you need with dignity and heart. And if you ever need to convert to Medicaid, you don't have to move. With communities across Washington and Arizona, including new locations in Port Orchard, Sumner, Mercer Island, and North Creek Bothell, there's a Care Partners community near you. Care Partners Living, compassionate care and peace of mind. Visit carepartnersliving.com.
We live for the jaw droppers.
Gets hit in the backfield and dropped. Guess who? Witherspoon.
The deep balls sent sky high.
Gonna throw right down the seam. Touchdown, Seahawks!
Big moments that throw you out of your seat.
And it's intercepted. Richard Sherman with a leaping interception.
Questioning the laws of physics and worthy of the celebration. Celebrating 50 seasons of Seahawks football. Visit Seahawks.com/tickets today.
Looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
If Old Spice Deep Sea Super Hydration Body Wash were music, what would it sound like? Start with the deep sounds of Old Spice's ocean waves and kelp. Layer on the smooth, renewing moisture. You wouldn't hear any parabens or phthalates because Old Spice Deep Sea hasn't got any. But you would hear that vitamin B3 for healthier looking skin. So while your regular body wash sounds like this, Old Spice sounds like this. Sounds like it smells amazing.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by ZipRecruiter.
I'm Matt Piper. A crackdown on crime. The president now says he wants to bring back the death penalty in D.C.
President Trump made his announcement during a lengthy cabinet meeting.
If somebody kills somebody in the Capitol, Washington, D.C., we're going to be seeking the death penalty.
The president spoke amid his crackdown on crime in the nation's capital, including his deployment of the National Guard in the federal district. Washington, D.C.'s death penalty was nullified by the Supreme Court in 1972 and repealed by the D.C. Council in 1981. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Lisa Cook was the first black woman to serve on the Federal Reserve's board. After Trump fired her on social media last night, she says he has no authority to do so and will sue over it. CBS's Aaron Navarro.
Waiting to see if there are any formal charges. What kind of kickstarted all of this were allegations that Cook listed 2 addresses as her primary residence in banking forms. This was brought to the attention by Housing Finance Agency Director Bill Pulte, who's known as a Trump ally.
Firefighters make progress on a large fire burning in central Oregon. The flat fire is now 7% contained at nearly 22,000 acres.
A little rain Monday allowed for the reduction of some evacuation orders on the flat fire. Oregon's Department of Forestry shared the good news with a crowded community meeting in Sisters.
We do have this fire line. We do have a line all the